Running body kick again.
Oh! Warriors' voice will be heard.
Oh, nah. Almost fucked that up. We back, baby. I'm on the wrong scenes, but we back, baby. Episode 13. I remember this week. It is episode 13. We are back. The Warriors Voice. I'm here with one of my gracious co-hosts, the MMA Pickers. My guy, Mike Tyson, will be here shortly, per usual. We got to get Mac. We got to get Mac a clock. I'm buying Mac an Apple Watch, all right, for Christmas. That's what we're going to get Mac for Christmas.
Damn, I'm going to start being late.
But no, I need somebody here to talk to. Okay, god damn it. All right, you guys both can't be late. Somebody's got to be. I'm just talking to myself. All right, but we got a crazy episode per usual. Got a lot on the plate. We're gonna be talking about quite a few things. But before we get into that, I always like to check in with my man MMA Pickers. How you feeling? You had a great weekend in betting. Some really good picks that you made. He said, "Call me crazy." Call him crazy because that man was right. But how you feeling off that fire weekend, and how you feeling just in general?
Don't nickel by decision. All the haters, you can suck it. Told you that was going to happen. Plus 750. That was a good cash. That was my Austin Lane versus Robelis to Spain part 2. So 100%. I was very happy with that. Obviously, good fight card overall. Really enjoyed all the fights. A lot of fun. I thought that Jones versus Stipe fight was great. Another I told you so. Jones isn't retiring.
He's not.
All that BS was just to play up the fight with Aspinall and ask for a ton of money. I mean, I've been saying this on here for weeks. So
you have.
I had a lot of smugness this weekend.
And well-deserved smugness. Well-deserved. You have been calling this every week.
Nice
my man Mike Tyson is here. Indeed out. What's up, brother? But yeah, you're definitely correct. You are correct. You have all rights to smudge me all through whatever you would like to for the next few weeks, because you're right. John Jones is not retiring. And I guess that's perfect to hop into the first topic of the discussion. But before we hop into that topic first, we got to pay a little bit of tribute and make sure we take care of the big guys upstairs. So if you haven't already, man, this show is a lot about karate combat. We do cover combat sports in general, but a lot about karate combat. And the thing about karate combat is they have a beautiful app which has all the fighters on it, and you can vote on the fighters, right? You can also have a say in the league and make votes on decisions in the league. And you do all of that through this app right here. So download the app. They'll give you a free 88 karate tokens, which is your key into that, to that DAO system where you'll be able to make your decisions, and you'll be able to make some money because you can't lose. All right. It's a no-loss betting system. It's not technically gambling. It is a voting system that allows you to only win. So, I mean, you can't lose there. If you love combat sports, you love winning, download the app right now. Get in there. It's a lot of cool stuff coming on. We got a card coming up next month in December, and that could be your first one to vote. And also, if you download the app, guess what? Let me make sure I say this right before we go. Oh, yeah. So if you do download the app, you can use code capital TVW lowercase POD. All right. So capital TVW lowercase POD. Fubar, if you can write that in the chat for me, use that code right there. You can get some free karate tokens courtesy of the Warriors Voice and Karate Combat. So appreciate you guys. And yeah, make sure you download the app. I'm going to throw the QR code up in the little corner for you guys, just in case you want to download that. And I'm going to get rid of the one on the bottom. And I'm going to push this over here because Mac is a little lower on the screen than I am. There we go. Perfect. See, Mac's Fendi hat is perfect for this. Mac, how you doing today, Mac Tyson?
I'm doing great. We got a great show ahead. I can't believe it's almost the end of the year card. It's going to be amazing with Karate Combat, but we got a few other things we're going to talk about first, too.
Yeah, 100%. It's actually Mark's cool thing is this month actually marks my year anniversary with Karate Combat being around about a year ago. Use the second one, not the. All right, here's a code right there. That is a code you want to use if you want to free karate. Go to the redeem section in the Karate Combat app. Type that in, case sensitive. Get some free tokens. I don't know exactly how much it is, but use it. Get some free tokens. It's free. What was I saying? Hold on. Said something that triggered me for that. Let's just move into it. Fuck it. John Jones.
Anniversary.
Huh? Oh, my year. Yeah, my year anniversary. I started working with Karate Combat a year ago. Came on as a streamer, became a super fan. Now I work for them. Fucking amazing. You gotta love it. Life is a fucking whirlwind, and I'm just in here like a leaf, baby. So shout that out. This will be my year anniversary coming up. So I guess the next episode we'll do a little something special. Maybe I'll give it away as some extra karate to a lucky viewer. And shout out all the new followers, bro. We jumped up like half. We'll talk about how we did that and who we're working with now a little bit later in the podcast, but we do have a new sponsor. If you're on my Twitter, you've seen it. Shout out them, and we'll talk about them a bit later. But let's jump into it. Enough about me. Let's talk about the goddamn combat sports that's going on. Oh my God, where do we start? Let's start with John Jones. John Jones came in and broke Stipe up, man. Hit him with a spinning back kick, broke ribs, broke kidneys, exploded things, all types of things, beat him up. People have their own say about it. Some people say it was an old Stipe. Some people say it was a boring fight. I've heard it all. But the main question I think of it is John Jones the pound for pound now? Now they did release the rankings, and he is number 2 next to Islam Makhachev, which is understandable because the way he choked out Robert Whittaker with that crank, yeah. It's very dominant. He's been very dominant. He's been very active. So that can be the argument above why he's above John Jones. But I want to hear what my co-hosts have to what they think about it. Should John Jones be in a number 1 spot, or is he right where he's supposed to be?
Yeah, so I do think Islam gets the number 1. Just a quick correction. It wasn't Whittaker. That was a Kamsat who choked out Whittaker. But I do think Islam still gets the number 1. I think if you're talking about the pound for pound all-time list, I think everyone agrees it's John Jones. It would be really, really hard to argue against that at that point, even if you're arguing like DJ or GSP. But we're talking about the number 1 pound for pound list today. I think there has to be a recency bias. I think that Islam, 2 wins over Volkanovski, obviously the second one being incredibly impressive, the head kick that put his lights out. He has that win over Dustin Poirier by submission after a 5-round war. He choked out Charles Oliveira, made it look easy. And we've seen his stand-up evolve so much. He's such a multifaceted fighter now. He's pretty much elite in all areas: strength, conditioning, striking, MMA-specific striking. Obviously, grappling. He's Khabib 2.0 at this point. I would today have to give it to Islam, but I probably could be convinced to give it to Jones if he beats the number 1 contender, Tom Aspinall.
I know it's coming. I know it's fucking coming. It ain't a show without you saying he's got to fight Tom Aspinall. Me saying I don't want him to. I don't want him to fight him. God damn it, Pickers. Leave it alone. Let him fight Alex.
Number 8, man.
I know.
Pound for pound for beating number 8.
I know. It's just bad timing, man. He should have just fought him and not got injured and got out of the way. Now he's got to fight this freaking big bear of a man who sticks his hand in petrol, the heart in them. He's crazy. I don't want John fighting him. God damn it. I'm on my Stephen A shit today. Listen, I agree totally with you. I am very emotional because he's my favorite fighter, and sometimes that gets in the way of my reasoning behind this. But you are correct. It's just the way it's structured. It's just the way it works. But Mike Tyson, how you feel about this one?
It's like with Karate Combat's rankings that I always talk about, is that activity matters when it comes to rankings, and what you've done before matters a lot. But there's going to always be a recency bias with these journalists, so that's going to always elevate someone. And also, I think I imagine the journalists are also probably punishing John by not giving him the number 1 because they want him to fight Tom Aspinall.
Good.
I could agree with that. That is a good way to get him out there. But also, John is somebody. He's like Connor. He's like, I apologize to no one. Like, I don't care.
I don't think John cares about the pound for pound.
No, I don't think he does anymore.
He already knows he's the pound for pound number 1.
I mean, once you've ran through everybody you've ever touched, right? For the most part, I mean, you have some arguable decisions, right? But once you do that and you're one of the top paid guys in, I mean, I'm pretty sure he is the top paid guy right now in the UFC since Connor's gone. I mean, I do the same thing.
After this fight, probably.
After this fight.
Numbers that the press reported were even remotely accurate.
Speaking of which, do you guys agree with what DC is saying, that the reason John keeps on saying that he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall is that it's a public way of negotiating with the UFC to make sure he gets a big payday for Tom Aspinall?
Oh, yeah. I've been saying that.
100%.
100%. No question.
100% agree with that.
And that's the same reason he said he was going to retire. because this might be John Jones' last fight. He's the greatest fighter of all time. You can't miss his last fight. Pay-per-views. All about pay-per-views.
100%. 100% agree, bro. And speaking of that in numbers, with John Jones, let's talk about this Tyson Paul circus of a fight that happened. Like I said from the beginning, I hate that this fight had to happen. It should have never happened. Mike didn't need the money. He clearly said that after I've been saying that for like a whole year now. He didn't need the money. He just did it. And we got 18 landed punches and 184 glove bites. Those are similar to close stats of what actually happened during that fight, bro. And it was insane, man. I think at this point, yeah, I'm really upset that that's the last thing I had to see of Mike Tyson. I'm not any form or fashion happy about it. I guess it's cool for Jake that he said he's got to win over Tyson, but even to the point where even at one point he was looking at Tyson and he was like, I didn't go as hard because I seen what was going on. I seen how Tyson was. And it just brings to the fact again, right? Why did the commission even approve this fight, right? If one of the fighters has to hold back because he's worried about the health of another fighter and not in the fact of the health that like I put on you and the health of like your just natural health, that means the fight should have never happened. So I don't know. I want to hear y'all thoughts and takeaways on this. You know me, I've been a disliker of this since the beginning. And
so
yeah, guys, over.
Great card, terrible main event. The other boxing matches on the card were phenomenal, especially the women's fight, Katie Taylor versus Amanda
Terrible
Serrano.
decision.
I hated the first fight.
Terrible decision.
Oh, the first one on the card. Yeah, the first one on the card was pretty lame.
Oh, the first one was terrible. The
And
last
two influencers.
the two fights before the end, the two fights before the main event, the co-main and the one before that, perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
Whoever decided to put
the title fights on the main card were great.
whoever decided to put a boxer with 0 knockouts in against an influencer for the first card needs to be fired. That matchmaker needs to be fired. Like that's not how you start off a card of this magnitude.
It was an interesting choice for sure. Yeah, but the world title fights were great.
Did anyone even know the Brazilian influencer? Like, did you guys know who the Brazilian influencer
He's
was?
specifically big in Brazil.
Yeah. That's usually how it is. They're so huge that like they could be over there. You don't even know who they are.
He's been boxing for a whole 3 years, so
Yeah.
he's ready for a guy with 20 pro fights.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. No. Definitely not 20.
No,
I almost say yeah to that shit. No, not 20. Yeah. He should be fighting AMEs or guys that are fresh out of AMEs, but 20 fights is crazy. You're throwing them to the wolves at that point. So yeah, that was a terrible decision. Any other takeaways from that, Pickers?
As far as the main event goes, I think what makes fighting great, there's two things that makes a fight a great fight. A compelling question and both guys being world class. Obviously, we want to see world class fighters fight world class fighters. That's the pinnacle of combat sports entertainment. That's what sells the tickets and puts butts in seats. And at the same time, there needs to be a compelling question in the fight. There was a compelling question in this fight, but it got answered in about 90 seconds. The question was, can 58-year-old Mike Tyson be 30-year-old Mike Tyson for 30 seconds, just long enough to ask, to hit a shot on a 27-year-old guy who's decent at boxing, who's probably on steroids and obviously in better shape. And we got the answer to that pretty quickly. He had, I would say, 90 good seconds in that fight, and then he looked like he was 58. And it sucked, and it was heartbreaking, and the entire fight was just extremely painful to watch round by round. And the problem is, once the compelling question's answered in 90 seconds, what the hell are you watching?
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Just watching.
It was sad. I was live streaming it, and I'm so glad you didn't come because it would have been both of us looking super sad and just watching the fight. I did a live fight companion for Tyson and Paul on here. Bro, that was terrible. It was the worst decision I ever made. I should have cut it off after the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight. Like I should have literally cut it off after that because the rest was cringy. It was cringy for me to watch one of my heroes, my boxing heroes, look like a toddler in the ring. Like he was literally biting his looking like a toddler. Now he's done it before, but when he's done it before, it looked in an aggressive manner. This looked in a very passive and scared manner. It didn't look like he wanted to kill Jake Paul. It looked like he was scared Jake Paul might kill him. And I've never seen Mike Tyson like that before. It's terrifying to see a terrifying man look like that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Matt, what's your takeaways?
I don't know why he accepted this fight if he knew his knee was busted.
I think it got busted during camp, and what happened was he just kind of was like, all right, I'm just gonna go through it, because he already had the first mishap and probably is so big with Netflix and all of these moving pieces, and it's this huge historical event, and I don't think he wanted to be the reason the second time it went out. That's my educated guess. But
it's just like his entire style is based off of loading onto that knee, that specific knee.
It's moving forward. Boom, 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 and he comes back up.
Yeah, and he couldn't close the distance at all.
No. Not at all.
And Jake wasn't going to go to him because he can say that he didn't feel the punches at all, but after he landed clean, Jake made sure he didn't land clean after any of that.
Yeah. 100%.
Now, what do you think about people saying though that it was rigged?
This is the only compelling evidence I've seen of that is, and I've seen this evidence myself because I watched his workouts, and I seen him work out for a good, like, I probably said like 10 minutes and he was straight. Like, no. So I felt like maybe, and even I called it. Remember I said in the first 3 rounds, Tyson should gas out. By the 3rd round, it's over. Like, if he doesn't get it done by the 3rd round, it's no way 58-year-old Mike Tyson could have enough stamina left to be able to defeat Jake Paul unless it's a desperation punch. And he gassed out in the 1st round. Like, he gassed out in the 1st round or gassed out in the 1st round. Who knows? Like, I don't know. It's been so much conspiracy around Jake Paul fights that at this point, it's like every time he has a fight, they're going to say somehow, some way it was rigged. Somehow, some way. And I feel like it discredits him a little bit if it's incorrect, right? And it sucks for him because he's really trying to make a career as an actual boxer, and he wants people to take him serious. And I understand that part. But it's just a lot of his fights look wacky. They look like it's some shit going on. It looks like the way Tyron Woodley got knocked out, it looked fake to me. Like, I've watched a lot of knockouts in my lifetime. That shit looked fake to me. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I don't feel like, I don't know if it was fixed. I want to hope it wasn't. I will hope Tyson didn't go down like that, because if Tyson went down like that, then we got to say Silva and Woodley did it. And then at that point, I'm like, that's all my boys. I don't even want to believe it. So I'm going to just dismiss it from my mind that it even happened. But there is some evidence that does point towards the Tyson Paul fight being fixed. It is some that does lean towards it. I'm not saying it's concrete evidence. We don't have any signatures of him saying, "Oh no, I took a clause where I couldn't punch him." Like, it was this so-called leaked document. Who knows how official that is? Who knows who did it? It's the Tyson Paul fight. It's the biggest fight of the year. So any controversy is going to bring you a lot of engagement. So it's probable cause for people to want to do that, right? So we got to take everything, as hearsay until you have concrete evidence. But from my hypothesis, it looks weird, but I don't think it was fixed.
Yeah, it is interesting how this is the biggest fight of the year because, like, as fight fans, we want to see, like, the best versus the best fight each other. But, like, my own dad wanted to watch this fight with me, and the last fight he watched with me was, like, Mayweather versus McGregor.
Dude, my granddad called me about that fight. And granted, my granddad's a huge combat sports fan. Like, my uncle actually owns a dojo in Alabama. Like, my family's into combat sports and stuff. And he's been he used to actually throw boxing events. My granddad's done stuff with Pernell Whitaker in his beginning of his career. But he was calling me all night through that. Like, we usually talk like right before, but I mean, he hit me immediately after. I didn't answer. I'm sorry. I did not want to talk to anybody after that fight. I did not want to do anything but go to a green place in my house and go to another place. That was it. That was all I wanted to do after that fight. But I had a lot of people, even my boy, I was on the phone with him, and his uncle was talking about it. His uncle's an older guy, he's about probably in his 60s, and they were talking about it as well. So this fight did kind of bridge the gap between the older generation of boxing and the newer generation of boxing fans, right? And combat sports fans.
But that's what I'm saying. My dad's not even a combat sports fan.
But Tyson was such a compelling figure during their time period. Everybody's a Tyson fan for the most part. Either you love him or you hate him. You know what I'm saying? It's no in between. It's either you loved him and he was just big figure for you, or you hate him. And a lot of them, I feel like, really did love him, and I feel like that's where it comes from. But yeah, man, I agree, bro. It was insane the amount of people that showed out for this. They had record breaking stuff, but fuck Netflix. Hold on, time out. We didn't even get to that part. Let's get to the real fucking circus. Netflix stress test. Like, did we not think to stress test something you've never done before?
Say thank you. Say thank you that you missed key parts of that fight.
Like, what?
Sparing you the pain of watching that.
Who doesn't stress test a fight? Like, I didn't have many issues. I was good. I didn't have many issues, but I had a massive amount of people on Twitter, massive amount of people on Instagram complaining. There is even a class action lawsuit against Netflix in Florida right now for this shit. Literally, I lie to you not. They literally have filed a class action lawsuit against Netflix for the quality and the buffering of the stream when it was promised that they would get it, because it's just like a pay-per-view. We paid for this. Yeah. If they made it a free event and anybody could go to it, and nothing could happen. But once you pay for something, your services have to be up there, and that leaves room for them to sue them. So now it's like, bro, look, we got somebody in the audience right now. Shout out everybody in the audience right now. We got a lot of people in there. I'm sorry. It's so hard to get to you guys while we're having these conversations, but trust and believe, we see your comments. We love you guys. Shout out all the Brett Gold community in here. We got Origin in here. Fubar, shout out everybody. Toshi with a dooski. And then it said, look, I saw a lot of polls right here. I saw a lot of polls of watch parties were like 90% were saying they thought Tyson would win. I did too. In my heart. In my heart, I thought he would win.
I know. I started talking about like the issues of Tyson winning, and everybody just started shutting me down because no one wanted to hear any negativity around Tyson.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to hear it, bro. But yeah, man, fuck Netflix.
Oddly enough, you do mental gymnastics.
Yeah. Fuck Netflix for your quality. Fuck you for the buffering. And fuck you for putting this fight together. Straight up.
It did feel like at some points I was watching like the early 2000s YouTube quality of.
Oh, 100%. I was watching a fight in 8-bit. What is this? Mortal Kombat from 99? Are you shitting me? Bro, it was crazy. But at the end of the day, I paid for Netflix just to watch that. In the ad-free one, I don't own Netflix. I don't support Netflix. I don't like Netflix. They have other things that I don't really fuck with. But I paid for that fight. Trust and believe that subscription is canceled already. Okay, we're not doing it. So Netflix, that one's for you. All right, cool. Anyways, moving on. All right, that's crazy. One more quick question, and I want quick answers from MMA Picker real quick. I want a quick answer to this. I wanted to ask you this. Michael Chandler lost to Charles Oliveira, and also I took Charles Oliveira for a decision. I know you said he was going to win, but I was like, Iron Mike's too tough. He might make a decision. And it was like a plus 1,200. So I was like, I got to slam that. Slam the plus 1,200 with the Bo Nickel by decision for plus 750. Cleared that. It was like $5 for like almost like 300 or some shit like that. So it was crazy. Shout out to MMA Picker. Stick around to the end of the show. He's going to give you some more picks this week. He's been killing it 2 weeks in a row. But Michael Chandler lost. And then Michael Chandler called out people like he won. And he acted like he won the fight. Now, he may have won the fans over by that thing that he did at the end, which was absolutely stupid, which was hilarious, though. To see him look at the camera and say, fuck it, I'm going to do the stupid shit that I did last time and just does it twice in a row, just shows how much strength he has, just shows like how much fan service he provides. But he called out people like he won a fight. I honestly, to me, I was kind of confused. Like, what are you doing here? It seemed like Charles Oliveira didn't win. It seemed like he won by the way he called people out. Now, do you think he has room to call people out like this? And after you get dominated for 4 rounds straight, do you feel like he has the room to call people out?
Yes, because he's Michael Chandler. It's the same way that McGregor has. Well, not the same way at all, but it's a similar. A similar concept to McGregor calling people out, even though he hasn't won a fight in 5 years. Michael Chandler is, say what you want about his win-loss record in the UFC, an A1 entertainer. You will 100%. Never see a boring Michael Chandler fight, and he will go into the cage to die. And at the end of the day, MMA fans love that and respect that because what we really want to watch is a great fight. And if you put Michael Chandler into that equation, it's guaranteed to be a great fight. That's very enticing for the audience. That's very enticing for big-ticket opponents. And I think you could clearly tell from who he called out that he's looking for a big money fight, not a title fight. He even said, I would have called out Islam Makhachev if I beat Oliveira, but that's probably off the table now. I want McGregor.
Yeah.
So I think the way he made the call out was smart. And I think because of the nature of the call out and because of the fact that yes, he lost, but he gave us a really entertaining fight. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, it wasn't entertaining.
Nah, it was an entertaining fight, and
Yeah.
he
That's
definitely
his
got out of some
victory.
crazy things that I think he was gonna get out of.
And that's how he gets his check, and that's his
Yeah.
victory, and that is a victory in some sense for him.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree. All right, well, that is the Combat Sports News, man. Brought to you by Karate Combat. Make sure you download. It's in the corner over there somewhere. I think it's that way. That way. Who knows? Somewhere. Hit it. Screen it. There it is. Right above Mike Tyson. About the Fendi, baby. All right. But moving on. Let's get into the Karate Combat stuff. We got 2 topics to talk about Karate Combat. And the first one I want to talk about today is the new signing. The signing of the month. Somebody that's very electric in the kickboxing scene. Very electric, coming over from one championship. We have Cosmo Good Boy Alexandre, who is 6'1", 171 pounds. He fights in the welterweight and middleweight divisions. Nickname is Good Boy. He comes from kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA background. He's a 7-time world champion, including WMC and it's Showtime, 8-1 MMA record with notable wins in one championship and Bellator, and he trains out of Thailand. And let me tell you, when you watch this man's fights, he is a striker sent from heaven. That man is insane. Yeah, whichever one you want to choose. It might feel like hell, but for the fans, it's heaven. It's hell for the fighters and it's heaven for the fans. There you go. All right, but this guy's amazing. I want to say that he is a very proficient and accurate striker, and the fact that he went 8-1 in MMA with basically no wrestling at all just shows the sheer amount of talent and skill that this man possesses in his disciplines. To allow you to, huh?
Do you know who the one loss is?
Yes, it is. Shit, I just watched it. Say it, Matt, because I'm slow.
Former welterweight karate combat champion Josh Quayhagen.
There you go. That's the only loss. And the crazy thing is, he also got a crazy KO on another karate guy, which was Sage Northcutt. Yes.
And honestly, that experience with Josh is probably part of the reason he was able to dominate Sage that well. But also, I think the fact that it was in a ring also helped him because he knew how to cut off the ring so well.
Yeah.
But he already fought that sport blitz karate style in his first MMA fight. Because when they got Josh, but when Bellator got Josh to fight Cosmo, they thought, okay, let's get a karate guy that has never fought professional MMA before to fight this killer Muay Thai champion so that he can murder him and get a good knockout. And Josh literally won that fight. He was just this is why he's the Rocky of karate. He was just a local guy that they grabbed that they just thought would be good marketing and get a good knockout loss, and he won that fight.
Yeah, which is insane, bro. Is literally crazy. Like, and you guys can see right here, he has a shit ton of wins. This is only MMA right here that you guys see. But if I take away all of the filters and just bring everything back, you see this man has a massive record, like, and a lot of wins, a lot of good ones, and a lot of first round KOs. The one against Sage Northcutt was what, 20 seconds into the first round?
29 seconds, yeah.
29 seconds in the first round. And it was beautiful too. The thing I loved about it was he used like 3 feints. He was just like acting like he's gonna kick him, and he's just moving towards him and like feint, and he just comes over with a right, boom, and just drops him. And I'm like,
I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to put Sage at 185 pounds, though.
Yeah, you don't think it was a good placement for him? Let me get this out of the way.
No, I think Sage was coming in there talking about how he was going to be the heavyweight champion of he's a former UFC fighter, so any of the former UFC fighters, one always matched them up with the biggest killer they could find. So they said, "Hey, you want to be the heavyweight champion? Let's put you up against a middleweight killer in Cosmo."
Killer.
Yeah, definitely a killer.
Middleweight.
And that's the other thing to note, though, here is that even though welterweight in one is 185, that's going to be Karate Combat's middleweight. That's what he's going to be fighting in Karate Combat 185.
Which would be the same weight classes like Raymond Daniels.
Yeah, Raymond's fought there, but he's
more middleweight, right?
He's more welterweight.
Welterweight, okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm super interested. I don't know exactly who he's fighting.
That's Marcus Perez, Ross Levine division.
Yeah, Perez was talking a bit about it yesterday, but I don't know exactly who he's fighting in Friday Combat.
I know, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't think we can release yet. Yeah. I got some other information that I can't release yet as well. But yeah, it's quite a few things going on with the card. Once I'm allowed to, I will release information either on my Twitter or next week on the show. Just stay tuned. A lot of stuff is like legal stuff we can't speak on right now. And trying to get stuff together. Also, we don't want to break news before Cardi Combat. It's their news. So yeah. But yeah, I'm
division so people can speculate.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited to see him come in. Like I said, great striker. And the only downfall to him really that I see was his wrestling, not being able to wrestle in MMA. And you don't got to worry about that here for real. Like for the most part, I mean, it's some clinches here and there. And in the clinch, he's great. He's got a KO clinch knee I forget the guy's name, but that was like his last fight in LFA, I think it was. And crazy clinch knee, grabbed him, boom, dropped him, walk off. Like, so in the clinch, he should be fine. Only issues I might see him having is being up against a pit wall with a grappler who knows the wall and knows how to utilize keeping you on the wall and keeping you from being a grounded opponent and stuff like that. That's the only issues I see. But other than that, I honestly don't see any issues. This guy, like I said, like 7-time world champ, like this guy is no game, right? And I feel like he's gonna come in and bring a lot of exciting and exhilarating performances to this division. Which, to be honest, I want to see get built out as well. Postmaster, who will be on the show later, I forgot to say that. We do have Owen Chumyan and Postmaster coming through later for interviews. Postmaster was talking about it the other day, and I was like, dude, you're probably the closest person who can transfer from IFC to Karate Combat at the current moment. Like, you probably have the best chance. He was like, yeah, and the division needs people. So good to see them bringing in people, filling up. Any takeaways from Cosmo before we get into our breakdown of the card, since we didn't get to talk about it yet?
I think you guys covered that pretty well.
Yeah.
That was pretty thorough. That was all my notes.
Well, perfect. Great minds think alike. You know what I'm saying? Is we got telepathy. We got note telepathy. When we're doing our research, we're all connected. Don't worry. All right. So we're done with that. Let's get into this amazing card. We haven't had a show since the card was done because we did our show on Wednesday. The card was on Thursday. Normally we do the show on Friday. We took a week off. How did you guys enjoy your Friday before that? Did you guys actually enjoy your Friday? Did you guys go do something? You didn't have to get up in the morning and get ready? You guys just sat around, huh?
I went to work, man.
I left. I forgot what I did. I went out the house. I didn't do much, but I was just like, I'm just going to get out of the house. Because usually I'm in the house from about 8 all the way to like 4 because I do the show. And then after the show, I'm doing all of the clipping and everything. So, but we took the show off last week. So that's why we didn't have a recap. But now we're going to do our recap. So before we get into the recap, I want to announce that we have a new sponsor. All right. So we're going to give a shout out to our new sponsor and let me put you guys on to what's going on with Brave Browser. Now, listen, are you tired of being tracked online? Well, Brave Browser is here to help with the built-in ad blocker and tracker blocker. Now you can surf the web without sacrificing your personal data. And also, if you like to watch YouTube, you don't have ads there, right? Brave Rewards also allows you to get cryptocurrency for viewing privacy-respecting ads. So download Brave today. Take control of your online experience. And trust me, I lie to you not. I use Brave on every last one of my devices. This is not something that I promote that I don't use. If you look right there, Brave is right there. I could pull up at least 3 or 4 more devices that I have sitting around here that all have Brave on it. So trust and believe. Where is that? Let's see. Boom. There we go. Another one right there. It's a whole nother phone, right? We don't support anything that we don't actually use. So use Brave Browser. It's actually great. Like, to be honest, it is the best browser to use. It blocks a lot of ads from a lot of places that you hate. If you guys that like pirating streams and you hate all those ads, guess what? You won't have them with Brave. So download Brave Browser now. Right there is the link. If you hit the QR code, it'll send you over. Get Brave Browser and get protected. Get protected and screw off those ads. You know what I mean? So it's over. All right. So Kickback 3 recap. Let's do it. All right. First off, I want to hear performance of the night. Who do we have for performance of the night? Anybody, take it away.
Adam Noy. Adam Noy is my pick. I mean, if we're going purely off performance of the night, who impressed me the most, I said it right before the card. I want to see more of a finisher instinct from him. I want to see him go in there aggressively and not just win a point style fight. And that's exactly what he did. He got right in there. He finished the fight early into the first round. Did it viciously, did it dominantly, and I think both because of the dominant nature of his performance and the implications it could have on his chances of getting a title shot, I'll give it to him.
I'll go for like the newcomer of the night, Abdullah Chandio. Like he faced a heavy. The big question going in was like, how was his grappling going to handle the grappling aspect of karate combat? And he went through the grinder there, and he still pulled out the knockout. And now now people are saying, is this going to be the new Shazib Britain?
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I love Chandio. Chandio's great. And Chandio, I did say this. I was like, I feel like him and Shazib work together. Him and Shazib have worked together. They were, I want to say, teammates back in Pakistan. So cool to see some more.
And I love the fact that he wears his dad's belt.
Yes, his dad's black belt, right?
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, and his dad left, which is crazy. His dad, like they said, like his dad left or something when he was young.
His dad passed away when
passed away. Okay. So God bless.
Both him, his dad, and his uncle were like top Kyokushin karate athletes in Pakistan.
Crazy, insane. Yep. Well, we're seeing a lot of new Pakistan. We're seeing the Pakistan funnel come in. I love to see it. I wish we would have got Anita Karim in there. Hopefully, we can figure something out and possibly one day be able to get in with these Fairtex fighters over there. But we'll get into that in a second. But my performance of the night was also Adam Noy, and it's the same thing with you. Showed that he has the finisher capabilities, which shows you're an all-around fighter, right? You can go the distance, you can get the finish, you go against tough guys, you can sit in the pocket, you can stay out of the pocket, you can knock them out. That's what we want. That's what we like. And Adam Noy has all of it. And I feel like that is definitely performance of the night. I loved it. It was beautiful and got the job done. Don't leave the decision to the judges. Simple. And that's the best thing you can do. So shout out Adam Noy for that. Now, speaking of Adam Noy, do we feel like he's ready for a title shot? I think MMA Pickers, I think you just said you think he's ready for the title shot. Mike Tyson, what about you? Do you feel like Adam Noy is ready?
No.
And can you give me your context behind this?
I think there's too big of a question right now between Jesus Lopez and Adam Noy. If Jesus Lopez loses his next fight, then Adam Noy is the obvious contender at that point. But if Lopez wins that fight, I'd say he's more of a number one contender than Adam Noy at this point, especially since Jesus Lopez, like all the karate combat veterans, have not been gifted easy fights.
Yeah.
Jesus Lopez and Owen Chelmy are where they are at right now, not because they've been gifted fights, but because they're just that good.
Yeah.
So I don't see how Adam Noy gets the title shot over Jesus Lopez outside of recency bias.
I agree. I feel like he does. Yeah, Jesus has been, and he's been calling for it for a minute too. It's crazy if you give it to a guy that just got here and the guy's been calling for it for a minute. I think Adam Noy and Jesus should fight each other.
Exactly.
I feel like that should be a great number one contender fight, and I feel like it'd be well-deserved fan service for guys in that division, because the division is very stacked, but also the guys are running through the guys that they're going against, and now we're getting to the point where the guys are going against the great guys, right? We got Chelmia and Vergara coming up, right? And we're going to start seeing that these big guys clash because they ran through all of the small guys. So I completely agree with that. I think Lopez should. Do you have any statements on this, Pickers? I know you kind of said what you had to say about Noy during your performance at a night bit, but is there any other statements?
I mean, I'm definitely biased towards Noy because of his body of work outside of karate combat.
Yeah.
But I obviously completely hear that. I'm not opposed to a number one contenders match. I think that would be a real treat.
It's still a fast track if you think about it. I mean, he's only fought, 3 times?
I'm okay with him getting fast.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just because of his body of work outside of karate combat. That being said, I'm not opposed to that match either. That would be a real treat to watch.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to fast track fights, but I am a big believer that if you're getting a fast track, one of those fast track fights
has to be a challenge,
to be a real contender.
Yeah, it has to be a challenge.
You can't just be gifted a 3-0, which he's not. He's fought some of the toughest guys in the division. Like out of all the newcomers, he's probably had one of the toughest ways to. That's why he is number 3 off the top of my head right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have a tough come up. I mean, you fought Gaethje Perez. This is like
It didn't look easy.
and made it. Yeah, it is not tough. That guy gave Owen Chalmers problems at elevation. So this isn't some regular just guy off the street or some guy they found in a random Muay Thai gym in Thailand. These are really good guys. So I agree too. Yeah, fast tracks are cool as long as you have challenges along the way. If you do have an extensive background, if you have multiple world championships, if you have double champ status or anything, yes, you should be pushed pretty quickly through it, but you should also see challenges along the way. Because that just shows us as fans, like, okay, yeah, this guy deserves to be our champion. It does, like, we don't want to get there and find out you get one good dub as a champion, and you get exposed, and then we're like, we just invested all this time in you, and now you're out the door. So we definitely need those challenges. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. Jesus Lopez, Adam Noyes sounds like a fucking ball to me, man. I literally will like, please don't put any bits during this fight so I can sit still, please. So I don't have to be moving around trying to get through a crowd and miss another great thing that happens. But yeah, moving on. I digress. Back to it. The war on one has already intensified again. It is getting real. President also made a statement after Karate Combat Kickback 3 in Thailand about basically, I've talked to one of the co-founders, and basically they almost didn't have the show because it almost got shut down. Shout out Karate Combat, because I always tell them every fight is mission impossible for you guys, but you have a team full of Tom Cruises. So they always get the job done, and it's 100%. I like listen to you. I'm not getting too deep into detail about their inner workings, but I've been around for a lot, and I've seen a lot of things about to happen and not happen because they're so good at mitigating things, and they're so good at getting the job done. Fights almost didn't happen. And it is the same situation that we've had before, where Chatri is getting in there and he's meddling his little fingers and stuff and trying to pull fighters and telling fighters that aren't currently on one championship, that are fighting out of Fairtex Gym, that they cannot fight on this card. Now, not only did he pull Anita Karim from the card, and I don't know the other fighters that got pulled as well from Fairtex Gym, but not only did you pull him, they went out of their way to try to get the event stopped.
It was other gyms too, but shout out to Venom Muay Thai, because Venom Muay Thai is very close to one championship. But and maybe it's just the fact that Venom is backing them, that they didn't even try to with the Venom fighters. But Venom didn't pull any of their fighters; they're not scared. So I want to give a good shout out to Venom Muay Thai.
Yeah, shout out them and shout out everybody that's going against it. It's wrong. Like the things they're doing are insane. Like you're holding fighters, you have multiple fighters, champions, double champions, going over to other organizations and telling fighters don't go over there. It's a reason. You guys aren't treating the fighters right. You know, and then on top of that, you got organizations that are trying to treat fighters right? And nobody's perfect. Everybody's gonna have their faults, right? You got organizations that's trying to, and you're steadily trying to sabotage that, right? You're steadily trying to stop their main events or co-main events and things that they're putting together just because you're upset that you're being called out on the things that you're doing. The simple solution to this, Mr. Chatri, is just to not do them. It's simple. Pay your fighters, give them fights. It's simple. We'd shut the fuck up and leave us alone. But you don't want to do that. The thing is, you don't want to pay the fighters right. There's many people complaining. It's one thing when it's 1 or 2 people. Maybe 3 people, maybe 4 people, but we're in double digits, guys. We're in double digits just off the people that came to President Awesome and to Karate Combat and tell us stuff. That's not any of the people that said anything on UFC. That's not any of the people that said anything online. That's not any of the people that said anything in interviews. It's literally just the people that have come to us and said stuff. It's in the double digits. So I believe in not too many coincidences, right? Walk like a duck, talk like a duck, quack like a duck, flap like a duck. It's a fucking duck. Sorry, it's a duck. So this shit is getting crazy. It's getting out of control to the point where they're doing this, and it's like we're not trying to sabotage you guys in any form or fashion, except for calling out the truth. Like it's one thing to call out the truth, and it's one thing to try to sabotage somebody because you don't like that they're calling you out. It's 2 different playing fields. Where do we see this going, man? Like what happens here, bro? Like I'm like, it's a lot going on, and I'm lost just to be like, where do we go from here? Because they are starting to basically start their Asian tour. Like I just talked to them. We're gonna be in Asia a lot next year. Like a lot next year. I'm not gonna say there's specific places. We're gonna be a whole lot. So it's rough to think of that and then to know like this kind of stuff is going on. Do you guys see a solution here?
Well, I think one has an expiration date on their heads. First off, just as a company from a business standpoint, they've hemorrhaged through hundreds of millions of dollars of investor money. Their books do not look good. That probably has something to do with them not being able to pay their fighters or give them enough fights, so on and so forth. And especially recently, I mean, they have lost basically all of their biggest draws. Demetrius Johnson retired. Mikey Musumeci, all that shady stuff happened with the last minute opponent change and his weight cut being disqualified due to hydration clause. He's out of one now. He's coming to compete in the American circuit.
In the UFC?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Ruguru beat Anthony Malkin. They don't have their triple champion anymore. Rainer de Ritter's in the UFC now. Obviously, huge loss for them as well. You know, they're losing a lot. Money, draws, all this, stuff is coming out from their fighters, not even from Karate Combat, just from their fighters who have gone off to other organizations. I think the ship is sinking. I don't know how long it's going to take to be fully submerged, but the future does not look bright for one. And it's a shame because they have a great Muay Thai program. And I would hate to see that go, but that's what happens when you don't treat your fighters right and you overspend and you don't have a good finished product.
I would
Before
argue.
I let Mac real quick, I'm gonna let you do yours. I wanted to do one thing because I'm slow and I'll forget. I think where they messed up is trying to do too much in the beginning. They tried to do way too much before they had anything solidified. Like you had Muay Thai, you had boxing, you had kickboxing, you had all these BJJ, you had all these different parts that you took MMA and split it up, and then you tried to make one thing with all of that. And I think that's kind of where they lost it. It was like they were trying to do too much. You're trying too hard to beat the UFC instead of trying to be your own thing. I think it was. Mac, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I would argue against the fact that they don't have too many big stars. They have Stamp Fairtex, which is a huge star. They got Rodting, that's a huge star. Rug is going to be a bigger star than their former heavyweight champion. And they got Cade and Nabil coming up there as potential stars. They are running through a lot of money, but we'll have to see because Chatri, as even Personazum admits, is amazing at raising money because for one championship, it doesn't matter if they're in the red. So long as they keep growing, they can still keep getting investor money because they can have as long as there's still that promise of a potential return on investment that's even bigger than what you put in.
Yeah.
But the issue with one going forward is what you're talking about, King Apollo, is they got too many sports. And that's why they're trying to force so many fighters to be like cross-sport athletes because that's the only way you're going to make that work. Because they don't have enough talent to actually fill these divisions. Grappling, they're lucky with because it doesn't matter. You don't need a division for grappling. Yeah. You just need a couple of stars, and then they just feed someone to those stars. And I think, honestly, the grappling is probably just to do what Cade did and get some people to go to MMA and start getting more talent into their MMA divisions.
Yeah.
One Muay Thai, they're in luck with the Friday night fights. They have a consistent stream of fights so that to develop their talent. But even with One Muay Thai, sometimes they struggle with developing contenders. There have been fighters inactive in One Muay Thai. And kickboxing, it's really sad because they have one of the best kickboxing rosters out of any organization, but those guys are just inactive.
Yeah. And they're starting to come to Karate Combat in other places too.
Yeah, no, people want to, people wanted to go to one because they think it's one of the highest level striking sports, but they also want to do it because of the exposure.
Yeah. I mean, you're working with Prime. You're working with Amazon Prime at that point.
Yeah. Karate Combat offers that too, though, especially with the exposure. Yeah. We're the best striking league in Pan America, and we're going global now. And that's why one is feeling threatened, because we're going to Asia and we have the grappling too. So they probably feel that we're kind of having their same type of like card set up with grappling matches and high level striking, just with karate instead of Muay Thai. So that's probably why they keep doing it. The question is it going to come to a point where one is getting so pissed off that they actually say something publicly? Because to this point, they have plausible deniability. Like everybody knows one is doing stuff, but nothing public so far. No public statements.
They're real tight-lipped about everything for the most part. But I think the solution here, which is a hilarious one that President Austin brought up, I think him and Chachi should just fight. Just let them fight. One championship versus karate combat. You could even, I don't want to do money with them. Nah, fuck that. We're not pitting nothing together with them. Look, just make it a one-off, straight up fight. President Austin versus Chatri, man. Just get it over with. Let him fight it out. And President Austin can get off what he's pissed off about him trying to fuck up the co-mains, right? He could put some hands on him. Could go either way. Both of the men get to get their stuff out, and maybe from there on, maybe President Austin could beat some sense into Chatri. Who knows? Maybe Chatri wins. Who knows? Maybe Chatri doesn't even sign up to want to do it. But something's got to happen. Something's got to give because this is a lot. And to be honest, it's getting to a point where it's fighters' livelihoods involved. It's a lot of people who take care of a lot of people and families and stuff. And we want to see all this mess come to an end. And we also want to see everybody in good situations where they feel like they're content and comfortable in the decision they made of being a MMA or kickboxer or Muay Thai fighter, right? So all in all, try to be ethical, man. Try your best. I know it's tough in business. I'm around business all the time. I talk to the people. I even worked on Wall Street. I know the worst of the worst. Trust me. I've seen them. I've seen them all, right? But you could do stuff ethically, man. And that's the whole thing that goes down to, man. You know what I mean? So hopefully they get it together. I have no real debacle against one championship. I just really don't like the way they treat their fighters. And, I hope they fix it.
I would pay good money to see that fight. I want to see that.
I would literally take a pay cut to watch that fight.
I mean, he called Dana White out to a fight, so why not? Awesome.
Like, let's do it, bro. It'd be better. I'll tell you this. It'd be better than Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Might not have as many viewers, but it would be better. 100%. All right. One more topic, because we got Owen Chumia coming up at 1 p.m. We got 5 minutes. And this question this is the one I had directed for Mike Tyson. As you know, Mike Tyson is our karate encyclopedia, but is not limited to that. He's definitely a combat sports encyclopedia as well. We just like to call him our karate encyclopedia because he's special to us. We like to keep him right here. I wish I could reach. I'm reaching all the way around. My arm's on your shoulder and MMA Picker shoulder right now, right? Yeah, no, you're good. I just wrapped it around both of y'all like a group picture. But Mac, as you said earlier, one of you guys said earlier, karate combat vets did not show up in Thailand. We didn't see what we wanted to see from our guys that have been around for a while. I know it's a little upsetting for you, also for me as well, to see our guys kind of get in there. I think one of them, with Elvin, what was it, Elvin? Yeah, Elvin, who got stopped. Was it Elvin who's got stopped? No, Eggers. That was kind of, yeah, Elvin got.
He actually should have got stopped.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Eggers was controversial, but the rest of the fighters like Yo and Elvin, they didn't really perform well. What is your takeaways from that? And what is your takeaways for them? Like, what do you feel like they missed the ball at? And how does that make you feel about moving forward and bringing in more guys like these Muay Thai guys, like these kickboxers and stuff in from different areas to fight the traditional karate guys?
Well, Edgar Screevers, I want to see that fight run back because the fact is he's a slow starter. You watch any of his fights, he starts off slow. We don't know how that fight would have went. Yeah, he won the first round decisively. I've seen other fighters win the first round decisively against Edgar's, and he always comes back. So we don't know. For Elvin, If it was a kickboxing fight, it would have been a closer fight. But the clinch, even though he had good takedown defense, the clinch difference and also in just that grappling, it was in the elbows. It was just he couldn't. It was disrupting his rhythm too much for his striking. So Elvin needs. There were zero excuses for Elvin. Elvin just needs to evolve, and it was a good fight for him to see whether he was truly ready for the champ or not. He needs to evolve. It was a fair matchup. Like they both had two professional fights. Alvin has a long history in kickboxing and karate. The other one had a long history in kickboxing. It was even though he had a lot more full contact fights, it was still a fair matchup. So there's zero excuses there. For Yo Miyahara, that one was tough because that was Yo's worst performance in the pit to date. He was slipping his strike. Like he was never the most clean striker, but his strikes looked a little bit sloppy. Like they were missing the mark by a couple inches. Like some of those shots could have knocked out, but it just like it felt like his shots weren't that clean. And I'm wondering, is it a combination of the fact that he also owns a dojo and he also owns a construction company that is not preventing him to train as much as he was? Or is it also the fact that he's been inactive with karate combat fights? So he's been doing other things, staying busy, but still he hasn't been focused on this rule set. So it was the fact that his strikes didn't look as sharp, and he went in with a grappling strategy that didn't pay off. He tried to take down his opponent a few times, and it didn't work. He needs to work on his grappling and his scrambles because a key thing on when he's on the ground is he knows how to get up, but it's very slow. He takes a lot of damage coming back up. He needs to learn how to scramble quicker. He needs to learn how to get out of those bad positions better. And he needed to make that fight dirty, but like again, those strikes weren't as sharp. He wasn't. It looked like he was worried about his cardio because he wasn't going as forward as much as he was. But also, Elad Suman also had too much respect though for Joe Miyahara because he wasn't going forward that much. He was just waiting for Joe each time. Mm-hmm. And whenever he got Joe hurt, he didn't follow through.
Right. And I noticed that with a lot of the Muay Thai guys, me and MMA Pickers was talking about it, was you didn't see a lot of them trying to go for the finishes. You didn't see a lot of them trying to complete the job.
Oh, I think with any of the Muay Thai fighters from Thailand, from the way it looked, they heard that everything that's legal in karate combat is legal. Everything legal in Muay Thai is legal in karate combat. And then they didn't read or the rules or change anything else.
Yeah, they just like, we're just going to fight a Muay Thai fight. Fuck it. Okay.
Wow.
That's how it looks.
Yeah, they kept letting them stand up once they were down. And I was like,
I'm just like, why
some
isn't
of the
he
Muay Thai
attacking?
fans even joked that like how lost the fighters looked like when the Thai fighters actually tried ground and pounding.
Yeah, we did see some good ground and pound. I think Pimpech did some ground and pound a little bit, and it was one other person. Yeah, because I think what's the name finished. Then
had a couple takedowns.
Yeah, the co-man. Yeah, I think he finished him, didn't he? One of the fights they agreed not to finish each other, and he still finished them. He was like, I know we agreed to it, but he's like, he goes, yeah, we agreed not to finish each other. And he goes, I don't know what happened though. I just finished him.
Was it what Yad Wicha though that like he would take down the opponent and he would just be like,
yeah, it just let him get back up. He just stepped back. It was like, all right, ref, get him up. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. You know what would have been smart if one of them kind of backed up and act like that and just came in with a meat, just coming, boom, just come in and just start going ham. That would have been insane. But yeah, man, I was a little disappointed with the karate combat fighters, but this just is a thing for you guys as karate combat vets and karate combat purists that's been strictly in karate combat is you guys got to level your game up. You're going to have to. It's a simple fact of either if your game's not sound enough to be able to adapt and get through these situations, you have to level your game up because these guys are coming in. And me and Mike Tyson talked about this a few episodes back is, listen, you don't want to let people come in your house, make food with your dishes and your pots and pans and leave stuff everywhere and just leave. You don't want to let that happen. So you guys got to protect this. This karate combat is yours. That little freaking square, that's for y'all to protect, man. That pit, that's for y'all to protect. So when people come in, you guys got to show and prove. And this time it was quite disappointing. I want to say that I don't believe that's going to happen every time, but in this case, it definitely happened. And I wish it didn't.
For their next fight, like it's going to be tough because
Yeah.
they're fighting a different sport now. Like any of the
100%.
ones that haven't fought yet, it's a different sport. There's been so much legalized since they last fought, and they're not going to be given easy fights. Like every single karate combat fighter has fought like either a UFC vet, a one vet, or Eli Suman, who has close to 80 professional fights. Well, Yo Miyahara has 5 pro fights.
Yeah. And that's why I said that. You were so, I know you love Yo. I know you love him. But we were trying to tell you this last time, bro. I love Yo too. But when I watched Elon Suman and seen his stuff, I'm like, this kid's gonna win. Same thing with what's the other guy that I called?
I thought it was crazy that Yo was the favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, you did say that. You said it was quite disrespectful to the other guy.
Yeah, like I was just backing Yo because I could see a pathway to victory for
100%. I agree with that too. And I said the same thing with his comfortability in the pit. It does play a huge role. People don't believe me. I'm trying to tell you, bro, when you know that pit and you can move in it like you know it, you don't even have to know it. If you can move in it like you know it, if you could get comfortable quickly, you could do it. Because what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. She was so well in it. It was about 3 fights ago. She got in the pit. It's her first time. Her family owns dojos. Why can't I think of her name right now? Kate. Kat. Yes.
Nelson.
Kat. I can't think of her name. Nelson. Yes. She came in the pit, act like she owned the motherfucker. I think they did build one at her parents' dojo, but just shows you gotta learn the pit, gotta level your shit up. Also, I want to say another shout out I want to give, and this is something that I chose. I said that I was crazy for. Well, actually, MMA pickers agree with me. What this shows that we're crazy together. But Julian, the Julian win over Awar Kazemba, called it. Underdog of the night. The odds makers, Nick thought it was a plus 350. Cool with me. Cashing out on that. And I kind of knew it was going to happen. Like I said, Awar Kazemba had 3 losses before that. One of them was a knockout. He was losing a fight that he won. He got a knockout, right? I just wasn't convinced that he could come in on a young guy and get that dub. And I was convinced that he can fight a firefight and he can definitely be up. But I've seen him up and lose and get knocked out. And I've seen him down and win and get a knockout. But I've also seen him down and lose. So it's like, it was 2 up and down for me. You're coming off 3 losses. You were about to lose. You got a KO, which was insane. Especially on a guy who's had he's so many fights. His chin has to have been worn down a bit. You know what I mean? So there's a few variables I was in there. I was just like, man, this kid a plus 350 is quite. I have to slam this. Slam the shit out of it. And shout out to Julian because he went in and did his thing, man. He showed and prove exactly what I said. Awar Kazemba is a very electric fighter. He's a very great fighter. He's a very great striker, but he is very reckless in the process. He leaves room for too many openings, and it leads to his downfall a lot of the time. So shout out Julian for getting that underdog win of the night. That was one of the people that I want to say, like, that was like my kind of like, I guess, honorary mention, along with Pimpetch too. I loved Pimpetch's. I think me and MMA pickers agree totally that when we were watching that, we were just highly amazed with the amount of skill this man had. I'm pretty sure Mike Tyson shares the same sentiment with us with that guy because, bro, when he came in there, he was just cooking, and I love it. I love it, man. I would definitely want to see him back in karate combat, along with Lurdzilla and well, I can't think of Buddy's name right now, and Bukal, because he looking like he wanted to get in that pit, man. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You think anything gonna kick karate combat off? Let Bukal get in that ring, man. It's over. We're going to the moon. We get Bukal and Rebellis de Spain. Holy. Speaking of that, too, I do have an update on that before Owen Chumia gets here. I was talking to President Austin yesterday. We had a space together on Twitter. And speaking on the Rebellis de Spain thing, interesting situation because from my understanding, what he was saying is Sam Alvey will become the light heavyweight champion. They will be moving that down to 205. 205 will be light heavyweight now, and Rebellis de Spain will be starting the heavyweight division as far as they're changing it to the actual, I think it's 230 or something like that. It's range, Mac, if I'm not mistaken.
Then
So
you have more information than me.
so this was
as far as I know, it was still up in the air.
well, I don't know if it's concrete, but this is what he was talking about is either what they want to do or what is going to happen. If you want full thing, if you're on the Twitch or the YouTube side of things, I just dropped the link in there. If you want to go back and listen to it, it's towards the end of the space. President Awesome gives a lot more detail on it than I will. But from my understanding, yes, Sam Alvey will be the light heavyweight champion, which is 205, which is natural. That's what it should be. They will have a heavyweight division instead of a super heavyweight division. Because I asked him about that because I remember you speaking on that. And I was like, can we get some clarification? Because we talked about it on the show. Mike Tyson was telling us about how this could be a super heavyweight division. What is going about that? And he was like, yeah, I kind of went back and forth with that. And I honestly feel like, well, because this was the thing. Sam wants to fight Robellis. Awesome don't want it to happen. He said he does not want to approve that fight. Said he doesn't want to approve it to happen. And I don't want to do. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Sam,
Wild.
stay light heavyweight. You are a 2-division champ without even have to do anything. Just relax. You literally get the 2-division champ by default. Just chill. But he said, I don't think Sam Alvey's going to stop asking him for the fight. So it might actually happen, depending on what's going on. So what I think Awesome was saying was basically like he wants to see Sam fight a few times with the belt. And then we could have the discussion on it. But he said more than likely he doesn't want the fight to happen. He doesn't want to see that. I mean, come on, Rebellis is like almost 7 foot. It's insane. But the guy that he said that he is fighting, it's the same height as him or close to it, even taller, I think. So this is going to be insane. Yeah, he said the guy that he's got to fight Rebellis, he's like, everybody always talking about Rebellis fights, and he's always taller than him and longer than him. Well, we found a guy that's damn near the same size. And I'm like, okay, let's reinforce the pick, guys, because I'm seeing some real WWE. What was that big show? And what's the name where they broke the damn ring? I'm seeing some shit like that happen with this whole Rebellis Experience thing, bro, because we're getting some really big boys in there. But yeah, that was a little update on that. Like I said, I dropped it in the chat. If y'all want to here, I even drop it in the Twitter chat for the people over on Twitter. Does it allow me to drop links in here? Yeah, here it is. All right. So if you guys want to go check it out, that is it. Shout out my boy Keith Berry for hosting that space yesterday about karate combat with President Awesome. You can go check it out. See exactly what President Awesome say. I'm slow. I smoked a lot of stuff that I can't speak on right now. And I lost a lot of brain cells in the process. So my memory is not the best, you know, and at least I'm honest about it. I don't sit here and act like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I do when I do. And when I don't, I tell you, go look it up. All right. But we got a crazy guest coming up, man. This guy, man, ever since I freaking seen him fight and seen him, man, he's just ceased to not amaze me, man. He amazes me every freaking time he gets in the ring. He amazes me every time I speak to him. This guy is just crazy. Like when you think about it, this guy started performing on the international level at 8 years old. Mind you, he was a world champion by 10 years old, right? This man is a beast. Not only did he do that, he's a homebred karate combat fighter. He was the first bantamweight champion, and he will be fighting for it again. And on top of that, I mean, it's so much more. I'm just going to keep it as simple as I can, but this man is also not just handsome, not just a great fighter, but this man is super smart as well. I want to introduce my man, my boy, Dr. Owen Chelmia is in the building. What's good, brother? Let's get you on the big screen. There we go. There he is. A beautiful introduction for you, man. I had to do it. You know, you're my boy. We've had a lot of conversations over these last months since we met each other. First off, I want to say I'm super proud of you, dude. We had a conversation after your Goyito fight in Mexico City. We had a real conversation about like you and moving forward and the things you want to do. And since then, you've done so much. You've got engaged. You've got your doctorate as well as her getting her degree. I don't know exactly what it was. If you want to say it really quick so I don't misspeak on hers.
Yeah, so she received a Master of Arts and she's currently now on a PhD track as well. So soon to be.
Yes. And that's his soon to be wife. So I don't know if you guys had the wedding already yet, but you've done that. And you also are back in contention to possibly get your belt back, brother. So a lot has gone on. We got a lot to talk about. If you don't know, this is Owen Chelmia, former bantamweight champion of karate combat. And we'll be fighting Arturo Vergara, which is also somebody who's been on the show, a good friend of ours. And I absolutely want to let you know that I hate this fight with all of my heart. Okay. I hate the fact that both of you guys have to fight each other. I'm just going to say it.
I think they hate that they have to fight.
Yeah, I think everybody does, bro. When I see you training together, I'm like, hopefully they never fight each other. But now it's happening, and it has to, because you guys are the best, right? You guys are the two best in the league, and we'll get into that in a second. But before that, like I said, I want to congratulate you on all of the great stuff you've done, from graduating to getting engaged to getting back to the top. And we talked about this, and you're here now. So first, I want to say congratulations for all of that, brother. It's really exciting, and it's like a proud brother moment, man. I get to see you get back up there and do your thing, bro. I love it. It's amazing, dude. But other than that, how are you feeling? What's going on at the ranch, baby? The farm, well, all the beautiful animals. Man, I love watching that content. But how you feeling?
Yeah, everything's good. Thank you so much for that introduction, and thanks for inviting me on here. I know I was supposed to come on a few times, and I just ran into it. I mean, I think we're fourth time lucky now with this interview, but no, it was smooth, and we don't lose any internet
You're here,
connection.
baby.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, everything's good. I mean, we're experiencing very cold weather at the moment. We just got a really cold week. It's down at 0 degrees Celsius, so everything's frozen over. It's very bad at the moment, but we're working through it. And yeah, now and on.
Yeah, man. I can only imagine how cold it gets out there. I know my brother, he's up in Chicago and stuff, and they're getting slammed with snow right now, but that's crazy. So how does that affect the farm? Because if you guys don't know, along with all of the other long list of things I said he does, this man also helps run a farm. He's shadow boxing and then milking cows. I promise you, this man is all around. He does everything, bro. But how does that affect the farm?
Also, for our American audience, 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees in freedom units.
There we go.
Yeah, it definitely makes all the farm work a lot harder. It's certainly a lot more difficult when you're wearing 5 or 6 different layers and you're still trying to shovel whatever dirt you can find out of the way. You're still trying to feed all your animals. It's incredibly hard with so many layers, and this has always been the case ever since my amateur days. It's always, whenever I'm kind of in shape, losing weight and approaching a tournament, it always gets cold. So that kind of adds to the difficulty a little bit more. When you're down in body fat, you feel it a little bit more in your bones.
Yeah, 100%, brother. So a few things, man. You got a fight coming up. You were in Miami. You're back home now, right?
Yeah. I was out in Miami for 10, 11 days doing training in the goat shed with President Awesome and his team. I mean, it was a pleasure to be there, and yeah, I'm very grateful for them allowing me to train there. I had booked a training trip weeks and weeks in advance when I first was told and confirmed that I'd be fighting on the December card. Now, I didn't know it for a title fight. When he asked me when I wanted to fight next, I said as soon as possible. I mean, I'm happy as long as I'm on that December card. Just please book me in. I don't really care if it's for a title. I don't care if it's #1 slot. I don't care if it's main event. I just want to fight in December. So,
doesn't even care who the opponent is.
Yes, at this stage, active. I just want to keep on this trajectory that I've been on for the last few months now, where we're just training, competing, improving, and it's just kind of we're in a good process right now. And yeah, I got confirmed for that, and I made arrangements to come over and train with the goat shed, as I've been there for 2 fights ago, and the results were outstanding. I mean, the different bodies and the different looks I'm getting, I wanted that again. And I guess, what was it, 1 week before I was scheduled to fly out to the goat shed, I was told I've been matched up against my good friend Arturo Vergara.
Yeah.
So that certainly made it a little bit awkward. I mean, the first thing I did is reach out to, obviously, as President Austin, say, look, I have everything booked. I have my flights booked. Everything, the accommodation's all sorted. How do you want to play this? I mean, I have no problem giving you and your team your privacy you need to prepare for this fight, but I'm going to be in Miami. I'll be 5 minutes away. My accommodation I'm staying in is 5 minutes from your gym. I'll be over there doing my own thing. If you need me for anything, just reach out. And yeah, he said everything was cool. I got over there, started my own training, I was in the middle of my camp, so I was just continuing on with the kind of training I'd be doing. And he messaged me, visit down to the gym, and everything was smooth. I mean, they really went above and beyond to accommodate for me. I mean, it's a lot to ask for. I'm the opponent, and I'm stepping into his gym with his team, his friends, his training partners, his sparring partners, his coaches, and I'm on the mats basically at the same time as him. So
Yeah.
appreciate them letting me use the facility, and not only that, actually helping me. I mean, he gave me sparring partners, he gave me advice, he trained me, he invited me to sessions. I mean, really went above and beyond. So I'm just really grateful for that. And I guess, yeah, we got through the week, got a lot of media done together, and I'm really looking forward to actually getting in there and getting this fight done.
Yeah. And I know that's tough on all three of your behalves, right? President Awesome has a conflict of interest where he has his fighter, his gym, and he's the president of Karate Combat. You have Arturo Vergara, who has trained with you. You guys are good friends, and then you got to fight him, and then all of this happens. So I think that's great context because we've seen a lot of videos surface lately about like you going to the gym, and it looked like an awkward situation was going on. Some people may have thought it was some hostilities there, but as you explained, that it was just an awkward situation because of how things were pre-planned and you guys weren't supposed to fight because Teboev stepped down, which kind of leads me to a question. Are you upset about that? Because I mean, as me, I just know me. I like to redeem myself, right? With certain situations. My brother beats me in Madden all the time. I got to come back the next day and whip his ass. That's just how shit goes, right? So one of your only losses was to Teboev. And I know we talked about you possibly wanting to fight him again and try to get back up there and get to the championship, but now he's gone. Is there a void there that you are missing still, or are you just like, it is what it is, you're kind of glad for him? Because I mean, it is an understandable reason why he left, right? We all understand the whole thing with his skull, and adding elbows in does add another aspect to that and could lead to a lot of damage to him. So what are your thoughts on him retiring and you not basically being able to get your chance at redemption with him?
Well, look, when President Dawson first offered me a fight in December, he was asking about, of course, am I ready for a title fight? Like, is that a 5-rounder? Is that what I'm prepared to take? And my response back was, yeah, of course I want a title fight, but my main priority is fighting in December. I'm not waiting around for the champion. So I guess with that attitude, I'd be a bit hypocritical to sit back now and say, oh, I'm gutted that I didn't fight Teboev, because in my mind, as long as I'm fighting, I don't really care too much who it is. Now, of course, I'll probably sit back in a few years' time and be like, oh, I should have got that one. I should have got my redemption against Teboev. But look, it is what it is. To be honest, right now, I just look at the opponent I have in front of me, and I don't really dwell too much, or I don't really deviate too much from the preparation I'm going on through right now. I mean, like, I look around the division, I see they're all good fighters. You certainly have to prepare for every single one of them. There's none of them in there that are easy to say, especially in Karate Combat now. The standard is it was already high, but it's after rising to literally the best strikers on the planet. So it doesn't matter who I'm in there against. I just need to make sure I'm in top form, and I just need to make sure that I'm able to deal with whatever they can throw at me.
Yeah. Before I pass off to my co-host, see if they have any questions, I just want to say, bro, you're just like, to be our former champ, our first champ, you were probably one of the best champs we have. You have so much humility, humbleness to yourself. It is just crazy, bro. And he doesn't care. I promise y'all, I've had conversations with this man, and I'm like, Owen, who do you want to fight next? I don't care. I'm like, Owen, no, you gotta want to fight. I don't care. Put me out there. So I have some more questions, but I want to pass it to my co-host to let them get some questions in, because I will run my mouth all day if you let me. Guys, take it away. Anybody?
Well, just to add, just to verify what Owen's saying here, I just also want to bring up a fact that back when I was working in matchmaking, I once offered a match to Owen. And a lot of fighters say anytime, any place. I said, hey, Owen, are you interested in fighting on this card on this date? Yes. Do you want to know who the opponent is? Doesn't really matter, but if you want to tell me, sure.
Love it. This guy's amazing, bro. You gotta love it. That's what you want in a fighter, man. We don't want picky choosy. So we know when President Awesome is talking about Karate Combat vets who don't want to fight people, Owen Chelmy is not in that category, guys. Trust and believe, he's not in that category. Pickers, I know you got some questions for him. What's up, brother?
Sure, absolutely. First off, I was at your Jordan Winsky fight. I was ringside. I was interviewing Chris Cyborg, so you kind of cut my interview short because it was that fight like 20 seconds. But that was incredible. And then right after you got that knockout, something even more incredible happened. You got engaged. I mean, that must have been the most incredible night of your life. Can you tell me what it was like, what you were feeling in that moment?
Absolutely. I mean, it was just the combination of both, just the combination of the achievement of all the work paying off. And of course, getting engaged to my fiance, who I've been with for a decade now. She's been with me for my whole career. She's been with me from my amateur days, traveling to tournaments at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, cutting weight for my first ever fights. She's been there the whole time. So just to kind of, to kind of start that new chapter of my life as a engaged to my fiance, it's amazing. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying life.
Huge
Looking forward.
congratulations for that, of course. And then another thing I wanted to ask you, you've obviously been around karate combat for a long time. You got the win in Event 1 in Okinawa to become the first bantamweight champion, as was mentioned a few times. What are some of the notable changes you've seen in karate combat from then till now? And what are some predictions you make for the future, or the way you see the promotion going?
Right, so the big change I've noticed is that it's kind of a sink or swim at the moment, which is the way it should be, where fighters are having to fight or they're just getting forced out. I mean, I feel like in the early days of karate combat, maybe it was a combination of there not being enough shows, but I think we weren't seeing the fighters enough to be able to become familiar with them, get to know them, and actually support them. And I just think now we're seeing fighters like myself, we're seeing Arturo, we're seeing like Adam Noy, we're seeing them regularly. They're household names at this stage. And I've just noticed just with my own, how people are treating me and the kind of the response I get from people now. The more I'm fighting, it's just, it makes everything so much more streamlined. It makes everything so much easier when I'm not worrying too much about when my next fight is going to be. I know it's going to be in 2 months' time. I know I'm going to be picked regularly as long as I'm healthy. And I just think that's the biggest change that's happened. And it's just come with having a deeper roster in each division and just having more shows. And saying that there's more shows, but the quality hasn't taken a hit. If anything, it's rose drastically. So we're able to have more shows more often with the same fighters fighting and getting to show their talents more and more often with just a higher budget for the shows, really. I mean, like the standard of the production at the moment is just outstanding.
Incredible, yeah. Absolutely.
Do you have a follow-up to that question? Before you get to your next one, can I say one thing? I want to ask him one thing. I remember you speaking. We spoke a while back, and you were saying when you were champion, you didn't like being champion because you didn't have a lot of fights, right? And then you were just speaking on how you have a lot of fights. Am I taking your question here?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Me and him have this thing where we take each other's questions. We're too much on it. When he started looking like I thought I was taking this question, but we had this conversation. You spoke on the fact that when you were champion, there wasn't a lot of fights for you because you had to be a main event. You had to be one of the guys at the top of the fight, which leads to a lack of fights, right? Since then, you've been working your way up. You've had a lot of fights. Now you're fighting for the belt again. Are you afraid that you're going to go back into that spot where you didn't like it because you were less active? Because now you're a little more solidified. I think in the beginning when you did that, you didn't have your doctorate yet. You were newer in the karate combat. You were getting things together. Since then, you've got sponsors. You've been moving up in life and everything. Is it going to be the same sentiment to you to be the champion and have a lack of fights? Or do you feel like you're going to look at it from a different perspective this time because you're kind of in a different space in your life?
So for me right now, the difference in between where I was when fighting for my first ever world title and now is night and day. I mean, I was 2-0 fighting my first title fight for karate combat, which I won and defended it twice. When I was the champion, even when I got the belt around me, there was no clear number one. There was no clear number two. The bantamweight division maybe had less than, you could count on both hands how many fighters there were that could make the weight at the time. It seems like we have the opposite problem now, where we have so many fighters in this bantamweight division and in the lightweight division that plan on moving down. There is so many fighters who literally any day could give me or Arturo Vergara problems. And that's just being realistic. I mean, if you were to make, I don't know what way the rankings are right now, but if you were to just throw together a top 10 in bantamweight or anyone in karate combat that can make bantamweight, I'm sure that's going to be a extremely difficult task. I mean, just going by records alone isn't going to cut it.
That's his task. That's why we don't have to do it. Leave it at the back.
Don't empty that, because you have guys now coming in with almost 100 professional fights already. And I know it's karate combat, it's a different sport, it's a different rule set, but the guy has 100 pro fights. He probably has a few transferable skills. And at the same time, you have guys like myself who had no pro. Like, I had no pro fights before karate combat. there's no saying that an amateur boxing champion and an amateur karate champion can't just run through the ranks. So I just think the difference in the standard of the league and the difference in the standard of the fighters and their abilities is night and day. I mean, any guys now at this bantamweight division can give you a problem. There is no mismatches as such. You get the odd one, but on paper they're not mismatches. And I just think that whoever wins this title fight between me or Arturo, there is a long line of self-proclaimed number one contenders ready to take our heads off.
I agree.
Yeah, no, a lot of the old fans that are left want to see you do the run back with Jesus Lopez.
Yeah.
Who's number
That's
2
another
right
one
now.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
Adam Noy is also coming up the ranks. So
Yeah.
We said earlier Adam Noy should fight Jesus Lopez, and then the winner should fight the winner of you guys. That was our hypothesis of what we think should happen. We're not. Well, he's a matchmaker. We're not matchmakers.
well, 9.
Top and the bottom. Yeah, well, you've been a matchmaker, so you have a matchmaker's mindset. We're not that smart, all right? Listen, we just like watching them, all right? But yeah, that would be tough. I want to pass it back to MMA Pickers. I know he had a question before I got into that. I just didn't want to forget it. Sorry about that, Pickers. Back to you,
No,
brother.
you're totally fine. That was a great question. So you've had 9 fights in the pit, all top level competition. You're one of the most experienced fighters in the Karate Combat organization. This is a 2-part question. I want to know who was your toughest fight and what was your favorite personal performance?
Right. So with regards to my toughest fight, I'd have to say the first one, my very first fight in Karate Combat. That personally, that was my toughest fight. I mean, I fought a Frenchman, Kevin Azuz was his name, and that was my pro debut, my Karate Combat debut, and yeah, it was during the COVID pandemic, and it's probably the longest period of time I'd been inactive from any form of competition. So I'd spent about 12 months out of tournaments with a severe knee injury that I picked up competing in karate, and that was my first kind of introduction back to combat, a pro debut. And with regard to training, I had no sparring, I had no pad work really, I had no facilities. I mean, everything was locked down at the time. I was winging everything. I mean, all I was doing every day was just running, pushing myself for strength and conditioning, and just making myself into as much of a tank as I could for what I was given. And I just remember going into that fight and just the level of uncertainty. I mean, everything. I'll tell you how unprepared I was. I got over there and they asked me to do the fighter interviews, and I had no clue about any of that stuff. And they asked me to state my name and who I'm fighting. I didn't even know the name of my opponent. I'd gone into it that blindly that I'd kind of followed all the steps that they'd given me to get there, but I hadn't actually done any of the research in terms of like as you should be as a pro. So I just about knew the rules. I hopped into the pit, and I just remember the fight wasn't exactly going my way. In between the rounds, even I was still trying to figure out like what can I do with this guy. Is a bit awkward. He had a real point style, and he wasn't engaging as much as I anticipated. So I managed to get the victory in the end just by resorting back to my style, which is wait for him to time him when he throws and hope to catch him with big shots. But for me, yeah, in terms of the resources I had, the preparation I had, and just the mind state I was in, that would have been my toughest.
You actually knocked out Kevin Azuz with the same combo you knocked out your last opponent with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
one of my favorite fights. Your first, that's crazy that you said your toughest. That's one of my favorite fights from you. It seemed like in the beginning too, you were just like, they were just like, listen, is he French? All right, send Owen at him. It seemed like that for a while, bro. Where it's like,
which is why Adam Noy is an amazing matchup for him in the future, because it feels like this is the revenge of the French.
That's what I was literally about to say next is
I'm sorry,
Adam Noy. No, you're good, brother. You're good. I told you, we all thinking the same. We all on the same wavelength, bro. That is going to be insane if you guys get a chance to fight, because you are literally in Karate Combat. You are like, you're the red coat killer, bro. You're just coming through. It's like, oh, French, all right, get him out of here, bro. So that was I definitely want to see that dude. But I agree. I do love that. I want you to finish your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and just your second part of the question, just I think it was my best moment or my
favorite personal performance. Yeah.
On my favorite personal performance, I would have to say the Maximo Nunes one. I mean, obviously my last fight was my favorite in terms of I got engaged and everything like that. But the Maximo Nunes one was because in terms of a story arc, I was a champion. I lost it. I came back, took another tough fight. I lost that fight. I'm on a downward skid. I mean, it's not looking good. I'm the former champion. See a lot of former champions in the UFC, and they never really get back to that level that they were at while they were champion. And I just think going into that Maximo Nunes fight, it certainly wasn't easy. I mean, we knew the guy's record. We knew what the guy is like. Not to mention, I was friends with him outside the pit. I mean, I fought in the same card as him 3 or 4 times during my karate combat experience, and we got along very well. So I'm fighting a friend. I'm on a 2-fight losing streak. I'm trying to stake my case that I'm still one of the best strikers in the world, but I just don't seem to be able to prove it. And I knew just going into that performance that I needed to not only win, but I needed to win big. And I guess winning in the first round after outpointing him for the 3 minutes that had it gone, I think that kind of ticked off the box and gave me my acid test, and that, okay, yeah, Owen is still as good as we remember. It is still the same guy, if not better. And I think, yeah, I think you're going to see a bit more improvement in this fight.
Great. Yeah, that was all for me, but I appreciate it. Those are great answers.
I love that last answer too, because me and you had a conversation, like I said, after the Gaethje fight, and I told you, and now I'm not taking any credit for the stuff he does, because this man puts in all of the work and he gets in the pit. But I had a conversation with him. I said, listen, it's unfortunate because I honestly, and Eric Gaethje Perez is one of my friends too. I love him to death. I don't feel like he won that fight. He got Mexican bias because he was in Mexico with a bunch of Mexican judges, and it was a very close fight and one of my favorite fights of all time in karate combat, because you guys put it in. But after the fight, I said, don't let the judges make the decision for you no more, bro. You know you could get it done. And you said, I promise you from here on out, I'm doing that. The next time I seen this man, Maximo Nunes dropped him. After that, Jordan Winsky dropped him. You know what I'm saying? And it literally just took it in his own hand. And as a fighter, I tell people that all the time. Like, I used to box back in the day. My coach always said, do not let your judges make a decision for you. You either need to make it undeniable or you need to knock them out. You know what I'm saying? And anything in between, you cannot get mad at. He said, if you get a decision and you feel like you won and you lose, that's on you. You allowed them to do that. And from there, and I told you too, I was like, the next few fights you are going to be statement fights. And you're like, yeah, I know. And talk about showing and fucking proving, dude. You did your thing, bro. And I'm super, like I said, I'm super proud, bro. Like, I'm a huge fan of you. You know that. I'm big on Owen Chumia. I'm team Chumia. It's hard to even watch this fight. I'm sorry, I'm not voting on either one of you guys on this fight. I can't do it because I can't vote on both. So I just can't do it. I love you guys to death. I got to figure out a way how to insert some money into that pool. Maybe I'll just give it away to a bunch of people that I know are going to vote so that they can increase the prize pool, because I do want to see you guys eat on the back end with the prizes. But yeah, man, it's beautiful to see. I want to kind of get into some, we got you for a few more minutes real quick. I want to get into some background. So we talk about a lot of fighting, and we talked about a few other things, but I want to talk about some stuff. I heard you were a dancer, bro. I heard you used to be a dancer, man. So I want to know what kind of dances did Owen Chumia do? Like, is this something native to like your culture in Ireland, or is it just like, were you just like dancing, just like regular hip hop stuff or whatever?
Yeah, so a very long time ago, I mean, what are we talking about? Maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, I would have done, when I was very, very young, I would have done a bit of jazz, ballet, and hip hop. Now, I can't say I was very good, but yeah, I spent a few years kind of doing that in parallel with karate and football. And I guess, obviously, my interest in karate just superseded every other sport. So I can continue down that path. But yeah, it was jazz, ballet, and a bit of hip hop.
That's dope. Well, listen, now we understand where that crazy footwork come from. Now we understand why his footwork is so great, man. This man, and it's crazy too, because you've heard basketball players and football players also have done ballet, tap, or jazz, and it helps them out with footwork. So it's something that's proven. That's dope. I honestly thought you were gonna say something like I've had a bunch of my family members, like both sides, male and female, have both been dancers. So like I love dancing. And I was just interested to see. I heard you say it in an interview. You was just like, yeah, I used to dance, and you went real quick over it. I'm like telling it. In my head, I'm like the interviewer, go into it, see what he was dancing. See how he's dancing. I used to be a dancer, but back in the day, it was like more of the, like, snapback roll, all of that kind of stuff. You know, I went too deep into it, but that's dope, bro, to hear. You got so many talents. Also, you mentioned football. What position did you play in football?
Right, so
Also, are we talking about soccer or American football?
Thank you.
that's the key. That's the key part here. In Ireland, we have our own version of football.
Ooh.
So I'd compare it to a mix between American football and soccer. So we play with a soccer ball, but we can pick it up.
Oh,
And
I've seen that before. Yeah, they can pick it up and run with it.
Look it up. It's called Gaelic football, and that would be our national sport: Gaelic football and hurling. But yeah, so we can pick up the football and we can kick it in the goal like in soccer, but we all can also kick it over the bar to get points as well. So it's like a mixture between American football and soccer, or a mixture between rugby, say, and soccer.
Yeah.
And that'd be our national sport, really. I mean, yeah, I would have played that through my whole school days, both from elementary school level up as far as high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like our national sport.
Is there like a pickup game culture for it? Like, for example, in the United States, you can go to any street in America and there are people playing basketball or baseball. In Brazil, the pickup game culture is around soccer or futebol.
Mm-hmm. So,
Is there a pickup game culture in Ireland for Gaelic football, or is that more something that just happens in schools?
It's actually like in terms of facilities wise, every village or every town, say, in Ireland would have one or two pitches to play the sport. Every school, both elementary and high school, would have pitches, play pitches. So like in terms of being a pickup sport, there's no shortage of facilities. I mean, if you were in a town, you'd be walking distance to your nearest pitch that you could play at.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I've seen that actually too. Once you said the name, I remember I was actually streaming one time and I was watching rugby and somebody was like, no, you got to check out this. And when you said the name Gaelic, that's what made me remember it. Because I remember, and one of the teams was black, like their name was Black something. I can't remember what it was, I think. But he was telling me about it. And I think it was during like the championship because it was a big game or something like that. He was telling me about it. So now I have to really go look into that now because I love sports. I watch a whole bunch of crazy. I love watching rugby. I love watching the New Zealand women play rugby. That one chick on there, she's a beast. She's freaking insane. I could go about that for hours, but I'm not gonna hold you too much longer. Before we let you go, and before we let any fighter go, we basically this podcast is for the fans and the karate token holders and the people that vote on you and the people that support you and stuff like that. So we always give the last bit of the interview to you to say whatever you want, to be able to speak to the people. I know a lot of times you don't have opportunities to, but it's some fans and stuff that watch this stuff. So if anything you want to say to the fans or anything you have coming up, anything you want, this is your time to say whatever you want to say. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you three guys for inviting me up here and giving me this platform. I mean, it means a lot. I mean, I know I've cancelled last minute on the last two occasions, just fortunate circumstances and traveling, but yeah, no, I really appreciate you inviting me back on here and getting the chance to talk to you guys. And I'd just like to thank then my team, of course. So my fiance and my mother for training me and helping me with everything, and for Mr. Doug Hype for all his support, my sponsor. And yeah, no, I really hope you all tune in to the next fight. I mean, it's going to be a big one. It's myself against Mr. Arturo Vergara. The two of us have very similar styles, but very different tools. I mean, both of us like to get the guys out of there. If we see a shot, we're taking it, but very different ways we go about it. And I just hope that you enjoy the fight. I mean, it's bound to be a blockbuster.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've never watched an Owen Chalmers fight that I didn't like, brother. So I don't think we're going to start in December, man. And to be fighting Arturo, man, I know you guys are going to put on a show that I honestly don't want to see, but I got to. You know, I kind of work for these people and I got to be there. And I can't miss an Owen Chalmers or Arturo Vergara fight. So I guess I'm just going to have to love it and hate it at the same time, man. But we appreciate you for your time. Time is very important, and we appreciate anybody that gives it to us. Do not worry about canceling on us last minute, brother. I know every time that it has happened, it's things that are out of your reach and that you can't do. So, guys, don't think that he's just out here just canceling on us. No, he had to do media day for Karate Combat. He had to do other things. He had things going on, and also when he's home, what time is it right now, Owen?
We're looking at 7 o'clock right now, 7 p.m. nearly.
Yeah. So this is dinner time for him. So, we appreciate you, brother. I think all of us will be in Miami. And we can't wait to see you. We can't wait to see you fight again. Safe travels, getting back over to the States. And we are wishing you a very healthy training camp, and we'll see you soon, brother. And this is not the last time you guys will see On Chummy on here for sure. We love this guy. There's no way in hell I would stop inviting him, even if he canceled on me 80 times. I don't care. He's still coming. So we love you, brother. Definitely stay safe. Tell the family I said what up. Tell mama, it's my favorite mama in combat sports. You let her know I said what's up. Give her a big hug for me. Tell her I'll see her soon. But we're going to let you go now. Enjoy the rest of your day, your fiance, and your beautiful family, brother.
Thank you so much. I'll see you all soon.
All right, brother. Take it easy. All right, man. That's Owen Chummy. But listen, we gonna get right into it, man. We not even gonna stop, man. We got another interview coming up. Man, this man stepped in the IFC. Oh my gosh, man. This man stepped in the IFC and did his thug thizzle, baby. He came in, he conquered, he conquered, he brought the stick bug with him, had the Hedera community with him. My boy, my man, Kyle Postmaster, baby. Straight out of Canada. Fresh off a IFC first round win on a very formidable opponent. Shout out Hector Sneck. Nothing against him. That's my guy. I love Hector Sneck. I definitely want to see him fight again, but somebody's got to win, and you decided to make that your thing, bro. How does it feel coming off that first IFC? It's been a long time coming too, bro. I remember when he told me I want to fight in IFC.
Also, he's one of the Web3 reps for the Karate Combat Ranking Council.
Boom. Exactly. He's part of the community. He's part of all of the communities. But what's up, brother? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Thanks for that intro. Got a little bit of my normal travel cold that I normally get every time I travel, and it was worth the trip out to Bangkok. What an experience, man! Fighting for the IFC, getting in that pit in Bangkok was like no other experience. It was such a beautiful venue. Just having the president overlooking the fight, and just the emotions were just flaring there too. With I think there was probably plus 1,000 fights of experience in the pit that night, man. It was just awesome to be warming up in the back with some of my heroes, being in the red corner, being in the all the ties corner, and traveling on the bus with all the guys just sitting behind you. It was just surreal of a moment. So yeah, I really enjoyed myself, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, man. You were part of stick bug, but you couldn't avoid the Thailand bug. I think everybody got hit with it. It's a little rough out there, but a little background on my boy from Canada. He's been training in mixed martial arts for a very long time. Also teaches classes to kids, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? You help teach classes to kids, martial arts. And this dude is an all-around athlete, man. I think I've told this story quite a few times, but I'm going to tell it again. I took Post to a party. At this party was one of the top dancers in the world. When I mean top, I mean billions of views on YouTube. If you know who Matt Stefanina is, you know who I'm talking about. And Post didn't know who he was. Post just knew he saw a guy dancing and he knew how to dance. And Post went and danced after him. And everybody thought this man was crazy because nobody dances after Matt Stefanina. And this man showed the fuck out to the point where Matt Stefanina wanted to connect with him and everything. And everybody was amazed. And at that point, I said, where the fuck did I find this guy? Who is this guy? He's a complete athlete. I seen him doing freaking all types of kicks the day before. He comes in here. Mind you, this man slid on his forehead on like a concrete floor and was this close to literally smashing his head on like a piece of metal that was coming out of the ground, because we're in just like some kind of bar club warehouse thing, and he starts breakdancing on his head. So at that point, I knew this man was a pure athlete, and he definitely showed that when he got in the ring in karate combat. But yeah, man, this man's a dancer, fighter, family man, a big builder in the crypto space, which a lot of us are familiar with, a big builder in the karate combat community as well. And he's from Canada, which isn't always known best for sports, but when it comes to MMA and mixed martial arts, you guys got some gems out there. And kickboxing, you guys got some gems out there. I mean, two of my favorite fighters ever in the UFC, Jillian Robertson and George St. Pierre, both from Canada, right? Both born and bred there. I love them both. But yeah, man, you got your thing done, bro. How does it? What is it like training in Canada, especially during the winter time, bro? Because I know it's pretty chilly up there already. You guys have snow already right now, right?
No snow yet, but you can feel it in the air that it's coming. So typically we get our first snowfall by now, but it sticks around Christmas time. But yeah, driving's tough for me, especially in the wintertime. I'm kind of far out of the way from the good gym, so it's about an hour drive to whatever gym that I go to. I'm going in 3 different directions too. Sometimes I go to Windsor, sometimes I go to Kitchener, and sometimes I'm out in Stony Creek. I train with House of Champions, Return of the Dragon, and occasionally out in Windsor with Jan Kazuba, who's a 4th degree black belt in karate and former kickboxing champion here in Canada. So yeah, I got great coaches. Crew Lynn and Zach George are also my coaches. So yeah, I really just trust in what they tell me to do. I show up and train 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and almost like a pro camp. So I've really prepared myself for this fight for sure for about 6 months. I knew I was going against a really tough guy in Heck the Snack. He's definitely got a lot of fights. I think he has like 30 fights or something like that. So I definitely had to come in, put the pressure on the guy, and work my strategy. Being the older athlete as well, I think strategy played a good role in my victory.
Shout out to House of Champions, though. They've worked with karate combat fighters Gabriel Varga and Rob Buxton before.
Yep. And hopefully we're gonna have lots more guys coming from that camp out there. I know we have
a few words for you. I definitely
we got a guys like Shane Campbell and Joey George who are looking for fights out of that camp as well. So yeah, we're all ready to bang karate combat, man. It's growing, and that's all I ever hear from fighters is, oh man, I really want to, especially the young fighters, they really want to get in that pit and test themselves.
Yeah, 100%. I think I get at this point a DM weekly on people trying to get into karate combat and trying to figure out the ways and processes of it. I just literally forward everybody to Leo. Just like, Leo, listen, I love you, bro, and I know you got 80 jobs, but I'm not smart enough for this one. But yeah, that's super dope to see the amount of caliber you working with. I definitely talked to it. I met your coach in Salt Lake City. We hung out a bunch. He actually had a very fun altercation with one of my friends and your coach, which was hilarious. We're not gonna get too deep into it. It was hilarious, but your coach is a cool dude. It was just a miscommunication thing, guys, and nothing crazy. It was hilarious at the end of it. But yeah, man, he's a dope guy, and I seen that he was there coaching with you. He came and did that fight with you. And so you got some really good people around you. Me and him, we hung out at the bar that whole night. Me and him were talking for a minute. Me and your coach, we got real cool. We had quite a few drinks, and I can yap already without drinks. So just imagine I turned into a D1 yapper once I started drinking. Does any of my co-hosts have any questions for post? Yes. I'll run my freaking mouth.
Absolutely. I'm personally a bit newer to the crypto space, and I know a lot of people in the audience are more adept than I am, but some of them are also fight fans. Can you just tell us a little bit about some of the projects you're involved in?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Stickbug is what I've co-founded. That's over on Hedera, so the same layer 1 chain that karate is built on. Stickbug is a meme token who builds retail NFTs. We have our flagship NFT, which gives kickbacks to liquidity pool providers and to the NFT holders. And we also build NFTs for the fighters themselves.
What does liquidity pool providers mean for the people that are still new to crypto?
Sure. So liquidity pools are on DEXs. So you provide 2 tokens. Typically it's like HBAR and Stickbug, or Stickbug and Grelf token. You provide 2 tokens and you get kickbacks. When people exchange, you get a little portion of that exchange kickback to your wallet. So liquidity providers are really important in market making and providing stability to token price. So you can pretty much check out liquidity pool providers on Google if you have any further questions, but it's pretty easy to provide liquidity on any chain. with any token. It's basically the backbone of trading crypto on
If you're
decentralized exchanges.
if you're a sports fan, just think about it as you're giving the money to the sports books for them to make the plays, and then when they get the plays back, you get a kickback from that.
You
Oh,
get a
There you
little
go.
kickback from that. That's
very
it.
cool.
There you go.
Okay,
Just another little way to make money in crypto.
cool.
100%.
And I saw you mentioned in an interview. I know the Salt Lake City fight obviously got postponed. That you were going to go to Thailand early to prepare for the fight. I'm just. I know you have a Muay Thai background. I'm curious about what kind of training you did in Thailand.
Yeah, so that didn't really happen. I got there like maybe 3 days early, and so we went exploring day one. The first mission was to find gym. Second mission was to find good local food, and third mission was to find someone to braid my hair up. So the third mission didn't get done, so we went full Terry Silver mode and just tied the hair back. And but the first thing was we found a little gym not too far from us, and just paid like a 90 baht drop-in fee, and basically just train with my coach, my normal sessions. But yeah, it was a nice little gym. It was almost like a little Japanese village, almost like little Japan in
Cool.
Bangkok. So there was some Chinese and Japanese hot pot and karaoke bars and things like that. So it was a cool little village that I hung out every day. Kind of got to know the villagers there, and went to the same little eatery there and had my little pork steak and rice. But yeah, it was just normal training. I didn't explore too much with different gyms. I just kind of showed up at that gym every single day and hit pads with my coach. So wish I had some more exciting stories about all the crazy Thai gyms I went to, but no, there was Thai gyms everywhere in every mall and almost every block. But I found my little slice of a corner of a gym to train in, and just kept going back there.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a big win. Heck's a really tough opponent. He actually had a couple fights in the BKFC. Like you said, a very impressive record. Kind of wondering what you're thinking next. If there's somebody else in the IFC you have your eye on, or what does the future look like for you in your fighting career?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I welcome any keyboard warrior out there in the DGen space. If they think they're tough enough, I'll step in there with you, no problem. If not, if they can't find anybody in the IFC, I'd step up in that 185-pound division. It's pretty thin in karate combat. So yeah, there's guys, Kai Calloway. There's guys like even Adrian. How do you say his last name? Hajibiran.
Yeah.
Not impressed with the 185-pound division right now. I think I could put a stake in it, and whoever they put me up against, I'm sure we'll put a good strategy together and go out there and
You really aren't
get a
fair.
big W.
You really aren't fair for calling out Adrian Hadjibia. He's one of the most experienced guys in the division.
I agree with you. I just feel like I have a huge size advantage on the guy. He probably belongs down at 170 pounds. I'm walking around at 205. I'll probably even be even heavier in the next couple weeks. I'm going to be putting on some weight, back to doing some weight training. So yeah, it's a thin division, man. Even like Marcus Perez. I mean, he's a really tough guy, but he's small. Every time I look at these guys, I'm like, man, I got like a 8-inch reach advantage on half these guys. I'm very athletic. I have long kicks, long reach, and I think that what is missing in karate combat right now is a proper strategy in the pit. Using those pit walls is very, very important, and I think I can bring a great level of mental game to karate combat. If not with me, with my team as well. I got some 185 pounders that are just as good, if not better than me as well, that we're going to try to bring to karate combat's thin division there at middleweight.
Yeah. I feel like, and I want to ask you this because I feel like it played a part, but you are a super fan like myself of karate combat, right? We work in the inner workings, but we also are huge fans of this. And me and you have talked about many times analyzing fights and the pit movement and stuff like that. And you are one of the most knowledgeable people I know, next to like Mac, when it comes to like the pit and karate combat fighting styles. Do you feel like that played a big part in the way you were able to get the victory over Heck? because you've watched so many fights in the pit, you've seen so many fighters. Me and you have broke down fighters. You tell me about fighters and stuff that I don't know. Like, it's only like 4 people in this world who tell me more about karate combat fighters than I know. Mike Tyson and Postmaster are 2 of them. The other 2 are awesome, and I want to say probably Leo and like Boss, right? So maybe 5 or 6. But how do you feel like? Did you feel more comfortable just because you knew more when you got into the ring? And how did that affect you, like your actual walk in? Because a lot of people say the walk in is the most nervous part, right? You're getting in there, and then you get in, you get the fight, and stuff gets to going. It's just like you kind of forget about the nervousness. You're just trying to get things going. How was that for you? Like,
So I think the most nervous I was definitely on the ride over when, you know, I have all those superstars sitting around me and just showing up with the red corner to the event. That to me, I think my heart was really pumping there, and Doodle was getting all hyped, and you know, walking in with Keith Berry and my coaches with all our gear. That was the point where I was like, oh yeah, we're really doing this. But I knew I had it in the bag right before we were walking out. I saw through kind of like this like mesh divider they had, heck hitting pads, and I was like, oh fuck, he's in trouble. And then they played the Hedera ad right before my fight, and I was like, oh, that's a sign from heaven. Holy shit. Like,
he's like, it's my people.
I'm not fucking losing this fight now. Like, this is my fight.
All the H barbarians praying that Postmaster gets the dub.
Yeah, so just going out going out there, I knew I had to keep calm. Heck looked very nervous. He was moving around all funny. I was kind of like standing right behind him while he was walking out. So I think that made him quite nervous. And I just knew to stay really calm. I even changed my walkout music and things about a week before, after reading the Book of 5 Rings like 20 or 30 times, which is a book of strategy from the 1600s by a famous swordsman. I realized that your spirit needs to be kept calm almost like every day. So I changed up my music to just like a Tupac track that I liked, something that doesn't get me too emotional or hyped, and just try to keep really calm and stick to the strategy. And the strategy was to get him on the blast line and then start pressuring him with shots so that I can get his ankles against the pit wall and trip him up. And as soon as he started kicking me, I'm like, oh shit, he's really in trouble. And I knew I could just blast through his kicks. Basically like strike at the same time. We call that just a to-dum strategy, where you just like strike through his strikes at the exact same time, because he was just throwing really weak shots, like his jabs, he was just very hesitant in everything he was throwing. So I knew if I threw at the same time as him, I would connect better and put him on the blast line. And once I had him on the fence, I knew I could land 10, 15 unanswered strikes. And in a 2-minute fight, like, you only get a few of those exchanges. So if I can get 1 or 2 times against the pit wall, then I knew I could, you know, win the judges over.
Yeah. And I want to say to that, with you blasting him, is that was my exact like hypothesis of why he lost that fight. Is he came in trying to fight your fight instead of his fight. We all know he comes from BKFC as brawling. That's usually standing in the pocket and banging. That's usually what happens in most BKFC fights. You see some movement, but a lot of those guys are savages. They're dogs. They will sit and bang with you. They're fighting with no gloves on. They're pretty much not scared of nothing. Okay. So I seen them started throwing kicks at you, and just knowing who you are, like me and you, like I said, we've been friends for a while. I know I've seen you train. I've seen you hit pads. I've seen your kicks. I've seen you break dance. I've seen it all, right? Once he started throwing kicks, I'm like, dude, this is not it. This is not where it is. And then once I seen you returning them at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this is going to get bad, because the one thing I do know is about getting in that pocket on a bigger opponent, you got to have movement. And if I kill your front leg, well, where are you going? Right. So I knew at that moment, like you said, once he started kicking, I'm like, this is not going to go good from here. This is going to go down south from here. So that was my thing to him, was like, man, next time just come in and fight your game, dude. Right. I don't know if you guys will come across each other anymore in the pit, but for his next opponent, I would advise to just come in and fight your game. And that's any opponent, man. Like a lot of the times, unless you're one of the most skilled people in every type of discipline that you're in, you shouldn't be trying to you shouldn't be trying to just do stuff because the other opponent can do it, right? You should actually be proficient in what you're doing. And if you're not, it's going to show very quickly. Now I know he was learning kicks in his training camp and stuff. Me and him talked about it, and it's something he wanted to utilize. And I understand that sentiment. But when you're going against a guy who knows what he's doing, not only knows what he's doing, but dude, you're super linky, right? You're very, like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this man is tall as shit, and his arms are long as shit, and his legs are long as shit, right? He's very long limbs. So you don't want to go against a guy like that, because not only could he stand there in the void and crash with you and collide with you, he can also step out of the void and still hit you, right? So
not only that, you kind of end up inviting people to do like what you're trying to do, because like I remember in that famous American kickboxing versus Muay Thai fight with Rick Rufus. A lot of people forget that Rick Rufus actually started that fight with a leg kick. It's not that the concept of leg kicks didn't exist. He just didn't have the same leg kick fluency. But as soon as he started going to that leg, then the guy immediately saw the difference and started chopping at that leg. If he would have just focused on above the waist, maybe he wouldn't have even started targeting the legs that early, and he could have gotten more rounds.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to get out there, start a kicking battle with him. I saw his kicks, and I knew even if he threw some high kicks at me, that I would either catch him and sweep him, or just get him in some big trouble with defending against the kicks, because he didn't really have much on them. And I knew I didn't want to pressure him too much with the hands, because he fights really well moving backwards. The finishes that he has had, he's got when fighters are pressuring him, and he's literally on the back step using his hooking power. And so I really definitely wanted to stay away from being in the pocket, obviously, with Heck. And I thought he was going to pressure me a little bit more with his hands, and I was going to come in with some blasting knees. But yeah, he just didn't seem to want to get on the gas and just kept moving backwards. And as soon as I got him on the blast line, I just pushed him against the wall and work from there. I felt like the ref needed to give me a little bit more time to work on that wall too. He was kind of separating us really, really early, I felt anyway. But yeah.
I mean, I didn't agree with a lot of shit that happened in Thailand, but I could go on for about 3 hours on that one.
I don't remember what happened. But the only reason I could think of that is maybe you weren't keeping enough space, because that's something a lot of people don't know, is that if you get too close and it becomes almost like a grapple range with the fighter, they're going to separate it almost every time.
Which I also hate the fact that a lot of fighters use that as their way to get up, is by grabbing on. And honestly, and I'm gonna run this past the president, I have a solution for this. I think I have a solution for this. Is if you do it too many times and is noticeable that you are trying to basically use it as a way to get up, similar to like the ground and pound situation with the 10 count, right? I feel like you should get points taken. I mean, if you get to a ground and pound, if you get to a position where an opponent has you in a ground and pound, and every time you just wrap up, it's similar to like boxing, right? Where they just keep clinching and keep clinching and keep clinching and keep clinching. Over time, the refs and the judges look at that as something that goes against you, right? And I feel like it should be the same. Like if every time you get to the pit wall and you got your back on your wall, and the first thing you do is right every time, it's like, nah, bro. After a while, you should be penalized. In my opinion, for that.
There's definitely a strategy to get off that pit wall. There's not very many variations to it. But yeah, I was lucky enough to work with Boss Root and President Awesome for about an hour and a half in Salt Lake City on different pit wall strategies. So yeah, it's definitely it's definitely developing, and there's all sorts of ways that you can trap your opponent and have a huge advantage with that pit wall. And not a lot of fighters even think about it. They just kind of go into there blindly. I know Heck, he just went in there blindly. He didn't even step his foot once on that wall to try to get off it. He just fell on it with his hands, and You know, it's you can use it as leverage as well for your punches and shots and wrestling as well. So if your back is against it, you got to walk up that wall and use it as proper leverage. So
Yeah.
Best
100%.
defensive strike I've seen being used off the pit wall is the side kick. And that's a strike that a lot of the
Yes.
MMA traditional stylists don't really have in their arsenal, that if you're fighting in karate combat, something you should learn, especially since you're turning yourself sideways, you're also giving less striking, because you can really use that shoulder as a defense for your head. So that just leaves the legs. And if you get swept down to the ground, I'd say sometimes being on the ground is a better position than being on the pit wall if they're really raining down strikes on you, because there are more guards you can use to get up or sweep or even move your opponent. You can't. Unless you have a pit wall, it's really hard to train those reversals and wall wrestling scrambles. Like, for example, the best fighter that's going to be the best at this is probably Josh Quahagen and
Jordan Barker, if he ever fights, he does is eat pizza and slide down pit walls. At this point,
he wanted to fight. He's been waiting for a fight. It's not his fault.
Okay. All right, Jordan. I'm sorry, Jordan. I still love your videos, and I love pizza too, bro. I swear I do. Postmaster, we're not gonna hold you up too much, brother, but I do want two things. First off, I want your prediction, because we got a good IFC fight coming up, and also it's kind of alpha for the people that are here. And if you are here, stick around, because next is MMA Pickers pick of the weeks. It's picks of the week, and he's been hitting. We've been raining in on some money, so stick around. But before that, our friend Paisan, the Paisan. He will be fighting Gaethje Jan for one of the biggest battles in Web3 gaming ever. I got to hear your prediction, brother. Who do you have on this? And then after you give your prediction, I'm going to leave the space for you to talk about whatever you got going on, whatever you've been in the show. You know what to do at the end of the show with the fighters. Is your space to say whatever you want, to talk about whatever you want, talk to the fans, talk about your project, whatever. But before that, what is your prediction on IFC? What is it, 7 now? Is it 7 or 8? Seven, right?
Yeah.
IFC 7, what's your prediction? Gaethje Jan versus Paisan. I want to hear it.
Well, I'm definitely going to be a biased one on this one. Paisan is my boy. I think he takes it in under 2. Gaethje's just like a little turd, really. I mean,
a lot of people don't like him.
Paisan's hungry for this. He took a beating in his last fight, but he went against a guy that's got like 4 years experience and just way out of the league. And I think that's huge wisdom points for him at this point. He's been around that pit an awful lot as well, and he knows all the people around the pit and all that. So I think it's going to be an advantage. It was definitely an advantage for me being there so many times and just knowing all the staff members and being cool with the president. It wasn't overwhelming for me. It was like, every other month just being there as one of the karate bros. And so I think that's going to play a huge advantage for him. He's going to come out and just let those hands fly, and he'll have that pit knowledge advantage as well, having guys like Keith in his corner and me probably screaming at him. I'll be down in Miami as well. So yeah, I think he's going to do well, man. I think he's ready for this. He's born for this, and Gaethje annoys the hell out of me. So I hope he gets a fistful.
I'm not the biggest fan of Gaethje Jan either. He's had a lot of debacles with a lot of my friends, and I don't agree with some of the stuff he said to them. Now, as far as his antics with content and stuff, content's content. Do your thing, brother. Like, I'm never mad at that. It's some certain things he said. He told one of my friends basically that my other friend only won an award at his show because the guy was black. And I was like, come on, dude. Like, just so stuff like that I don't like. But everything else, I really don't care. The other stuff people get mad about, saying he's a scammer and all this stuff. Well, hey, listen, it's your money. Only you had the choice to put it there or not. So, sometimes you got to make smarter decisions, bro. So I don't have nothing against him now. I appreciate your prediction on that, man. And I'm excited to see this fight. It's my boy. The context on that fight that he did lose, it was in Kevin Gaslam's league, which is called Yuma Fight League, and he fought a guy that had like 4.5 years of fighting, 10 or so fights. And my boy never fought professionally ever. And he went in there and fought a guy in the karate combat rules, and he took a loss. But he literally I can literally show you the message just from when he left. He was literally like, I'm so ready for my next fight. Like, it was a learning and progressive experience for him. So I'm excited to see him fight. It's one of my best friends in the entire world. I actually started my combat sports journalist career with him. Now he works for the UFC as their activations manager. He works for V-Chain as a UFC activation manager, and now I work with Karate Combat. So it's actually insane how parallelly we went. It's actually two companies that we both work with closely, and now we both end up working with them on separate sides. So it's cool. But Postmaster, this is your time. Say what you got to say to the people, to whatever you want to do. These last few minutes are for you, brother. Take the floor.
Awesome. Well, first off, Apollo, thanks very much for having me out today. Yeah, karate fans, get ready for another amazing event coming up in Miami with Owen Chimaya. Our boy, I know he was just on here. You heard lots from him. And Arturo Vergara. Wow, that's going to be an amazing event for the Karate Combat Gold belt. Yeah, really excited about that. I'll be down in Art Basel. I'll be pit side with you guys, and hopefully we'll get on the IFC table there and do some commentary with you guys. Yeah, that's about it, guys. If you haven't got the karate app, I know probably everybody here has got that karate app, but make sure you guys get that karate app and load up on some karate tokens. Hedera is hot and ready to bang. I am positive they're going to have a big price impact really soon on karate tokens. So load on up, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again for having me out, guys.
I appreciate you, man. And that is my man. That is Kyle, the Postmaster, owner of Stickbug, moving it on, building this one community at a time. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Enjoy that cold Canadian weather. All right.
Hopefully, we'll see a
Much love.
Rocky IV montage for your next fight.
Yeah,
Let's
there we
go.
go. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, that's perfect music because if you stuck around, you're a champ. And you know what champs get? Champs get prizes. Champs get money. And you know who's going to get you that money? My boy MMA Pickers. If you don't know, this is MMA Pickers Picks of the Week. It is time for you to shine, my boy.
Well, I have to jump though, so
All right, love you.
everyone
See you
listening,
later.
Pickers, one of the best in the business.
Heard
Say it
from Lil
again.
Mac. All right, cool. We got a fun UFC card. We had some pretty nice hits on 309. Congrats to everyone, specifically who tailed Bo Nickel by decision. Obviously, Jones got the finish as well, so pretty successful last couple weeks. I'm going to jump into this. I'm staying away from a lot of the prelims because these are fighters from the road to UFC, and they're a little bit harder to gauge. But there are a couple that I wanted to specifically call out. Number one, this is a guy who's coming off the Contender Series. I'm very, very high on him. I'm going to give two picks I actually see really good value in. This is going to be Loner Kavanaugh, and he's fighting Jose Ochoa. In the lower weight classes, I generally tend to bet the fights to go a little bit farther, but not with Loner Kavanaugh. This guy is an absolute monster when it comes to striking. I know he's very new in the UFC and he's only had one fight, but he just the hand speed, the power for considering the division he's in, it's immensely impressive. So I'm going to give out two bets on Loner Kavanaugh. I'm going to take one bet at plus 150 for Loner Kavanaugh by knockout. And I'm going to take the money line bet and use it as a parlay booster. It's sitting at about minus 350 right now. Loner Kavanaugh just to use as a parlay booster. Anyways, I don't want to call anybody a lock, but he's the closest thing to a lock I can think of. All respect to Jose Ochoa. He's a great prospect in his own right. He's been doing very impressive work, brings a good body of work. But I really think Loner is that guy, and we're going to see in the coming months or coming years, he's going to move up the organization very quickly. We have Shi versus Fang, Ming Shi versus Zhao Fang. That's going to be on the prelims as well. And you can almost bank on Fang to win a decision. She's got a point style. She's got a point fighting style of striking. She has a very smothering wrestling style. She mixes them together very well. It's at minus 200. It's a parlay booster, but I would add it to your parlays with confidence. I don't see too much going wrong for her there, barring something crazy happening. And then, hold on, I had one more from the prelims here. Let me just go ahead and find it. That's right. I have Carlos Hernandez on the money line. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. His opponent's name, I think, has about 35 letters in it. I did watch some tape on him after taking 20 minutes to type his name into Google. I do think Carlos Hernandez is going to be able to keep this on the feet, and he's going to have a pretty significant striking advantage. The most likely outcome, well, Carlos Hernandez also has a huge grappling advantage too with the wrestling. The most likely outcome I see here is probably a Carlos Hernandez decision, but I would not be surprised if he gets a submission either. But I'm going to say just take the money line, minus 162. No need to be greedy. Hernandez should have him beat in every area, although his opponent does have some pretty significant power from what I could see from the tapes. I'm going to jump all the way to the main card for the next one. Zhang Ming Yang versus Ozzy Diaz. This is a great fight too. Ozzy Diaz, decently skilled striker, pretty good takedown defense, but Zhang Ming Yang just has a right hand from hell. I'm going to bet on him by KO. I think it's sitting at minus 180. These are big boys too, so it's a very good chance someone's going to sleep. I'm not even really going to touch the money line at minus 340 because, with the bigger boys, it just takes one shot. Not really interesting to me at minus 340, but the KO at minus 185, I think those are great odds. We have Volkan Ozdemir going against Carlos Ulberg in the fight after that. For those of you who are not familiar with Carlos Ulberg, he's a really hot prospect, currently undefeated in the UFC. Pretty sure he trains out of City Kickboxing. He's a phenomenal striker. And he's actually coming off of like a 12-second knockout of Alonzo Menafield to pop into the rankings. Right now, Ulberg at KO is sitting at a pretty generous plus 130, and I get it. Volkan's got a lot of cool knockouts in his own right. He's a tough guy, hard-headed, very durable. But I think Ulberg is that guy. I think he's the future. I think he could be a future title contender if he keeps getting big wins like this. And I think he will find the knockout shot on Volkan. He's a much more skilled, crisp, technical striker, but has the power and the aggression to get the finish when he needs to. So Ulberg by knockout plus 130. I think that's a great bet. I'm going to take another crazy long shot on the next bet. Tail at your own risk. We have a minus 950 favorite, Kong Wang, who notably has a win over Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing, fighting Gabriela Fernandez, a grappler with pretty decent striking coming out of Brazil. I think this line for Kong Wang is complete hype as of right now. I do think she should be the favorite to win. She's very impressive striking. She actually even has a couple of submission record wins on her record. But minus 950 is purely because of what happened in her last fight. She was kind of fighting a tomato can, and she knocked her out very, very quickly. I think she's too unproven to have a minus 950 money line. It's not like you have Bo Nickel, the best grappler, on the face of the earth, or one of the best, not the best, but one of the best grapplers on the face of the earth, coming in and getting these huge lines. This is Kong Wang. We saw this happen with Robelis. We saw this happen, with a lot of big strikers. We saw this happen with Blood Diamond, is his teammate. And the question is, what happens when you go against a pressure wrestler, you get put on the ground? I am willing to find out the answer to that question, to risk my money for plus 625 odds on Gabriela Fernandez. And while I do think Wang is probably good enough with the grappling to stay away from the submission, if you want to take a real long shot on Gabriela Fernandez, it's plus 3,000 for submission and plus 1,000 by decision. And I believe plus 900 for the two combined. I will be absolutely sprinkling a little bit of my money on that. I think it's worth it to find out. Again, I'm not predicting here a Fernandez win, but those odds are crazy. I will take that risk at such lucratively generous odds, especially for somebody with 1 minute of octagon time in the UFC. Very impressive debut. Too much is unproven for me. I'm smashing that line personally. Next fight, Kenan Song versus Muslim Salikov. It's actually also the fight right after that one. I'm going to take Salikov by decision. I think Song's durable. Song's a pretty hard hitter. I don't think he's quite as good of a technical striker as Salikov, and one thing Salikov does really well, and we saw this in the Ponzinibbio fight, which I picked wrong, so proceed with caution. My Muslim Salikov bets, I do not have the best record. He has really good distance management. I think that distance management is going to be the difference in this fight. I also think it's going to be the reason he's probably not going to get the knockout. He's going to play it a little too safe. He's also getting older. Maybe some of that power, athleticism is going a little bit. He's already 40, I think. But I think he should be good for a decision over Keenan Song. Then we have Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ritchie. Yan Xiaonan sitting at a minus 185. I like her by decision at minus 120. If you like Ritchie by decisions at plus 215. Honestly, I don't have an issue with either bet. I think they're both pretty fair values. I personally will be going with Yan Xiaonan. Even if Tabitha Ritchie does get a takedown, Yan Xiaonan's got pretty good takedown defense, pretty good ability to get up. But I just think Yan Xiaonan's boxing volume is going to be too much for Tabitha Ritchie on the feet. But we'll see. And the final pick of the night, I'm going to take the underdog in the main event. I'm going to pick Davidson Figueiredo to beat Petr Yan. I actually think this is a pretty 50-50 fight. So I don't understand why Petr Yan's a 3-1 favorite. I understand that all of his losses have come against top-level competition and past champions, but I also haven't been super impressed with what I've seen with him lately. I didn't think he looked good in the second fight against Aljo. I didn't think he looked very good against Merab, obviously. He got destroyed by Merab. And even in his last win against Song Yadong, I thought Song won 3 of those rounds. He's coming off a knee injury. There was a certain period of inactivity for a while that seemed to stunt his growth to a certain extent. And on the flip side, you have Davidson Figueiredo. He's tearing through the division. He's knocking down guys who have never been knocked down before. He's choking people out. He's knocking people's lights out. I think he's a live dog at plus 250. And like I said, I think this is a 50-50 fight. I think there's a lot of questions. I don't think the 3-1 line on Figueiredo, that Yan is reasonable at all. I'm going to take the plus money on Davidson Figueiredo and hope for the best. Those are your picks of the week. I will post more on the Outlet SV Discord where I post every week, as well as my X. So stay tuned and let's continue this hot streak. I know I'm eating well. I can't hear you.
There we go. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, bro, I've been cashing in on these bets, and I hope you guys have too. I do want to say a few things because I do love this card. One, because 2 out of 3 of my favorite Asian women fighters are fighting on this card. I'm high on Wang Kong or Kong Wang, whichever way you want to say it.
As you should be.
Yeah, I love her. Listen, I said she's got the heart of Mulan and hands like Wukong. She's no joke, okay? I'm telling you right now, that chick, the Joker, is not coming to play any games, and I honestly feel like she can win it. And I do want to see how she can defend against this wrestling style, right? Like let's see you. Are you good enough to defend takedowns enough to be able to get your striking and be efficient with it? So this is a test for her, and I love it. I also do agree. A minus 950 is pure hype right now. She did come out and hit Shorty with the 1-2 buckle my shoe, 3-4 time to snore, right? But 950 is kind of crazy. I mean, Gabriella is she's not a slouch at all.
Minus 300 at best.
And I love Wang Kong with all my heart, but the way those odds sounded, I think I might have to just go ahead and put some money on Gabriella as well. I love that.
Wang Kong to win, just to be clear.
Yeah. And
plus 625, I sure as hell am going to find out.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I believe she's going to win. But with them odds, I got to play the DJ and me. Also, the second one of my favorite fighters is Yan, who will be fighting on this as well. I love her. One of the best strikers in the division. To be honest, in my opinion, I kind of feel like she's a better striker than Zhang Zueli. But, I mean, that's debatable. She did lose to her. So you could say that. But I feel like she is, in my opinion, the best female striker in that division. My opinion is not the best sometimes. I make dumb decisions. So, take it how you want to. But I do feel like also Yan is, I think Yan's definitely getting the job done there. I love Tabitha Ritchie. She's also helps a lot with viewership. I think her and Mackenzie Dern and just a few other, where a lot of you creep guys love to watch their fights. So I love the fact that she brings eyes in, and the fact that along with bringing eyes in, she can do a great performance. She could put together a great performance. I mean, Tabitha Ritchie's only lost 2 fights in her MMA career. She's 11-2. Like, she's no slouch as well. So that's going to be a good fight. I want to see, honestly, where that fight's going to go. On the main event note, I do agree with you. I think Davidson's going to get it done. I actually talked to his coach. I mean, you went down to their gym, didn't you?
No.
You didn't get a chance to? Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So we've huh? Yeah, he is.
In that gym?
Is he? Hold on, Figueiredo. No, I'm tripping. Figueiredo's, I know his. Yes, he's with Captain America's. I'm tripping. I know all of these coaches, and some of them start to mix together, especially when they're Brazilians. They all sound the same because they all speak Portuguese. I get confused sometimes. All right, but yes, Davidson Figueiredo works with Captain America, who is somebody that I do know, and I've seen on multiple occasions. We've met. I actually, funny story about Captain America is I helped him through security at Dubai when security was stopping him at Karate Combat. I'm like, dude, that's the champion's fucking coach. Let him through. Are you silly? Like, let him through. I also had to help the princess out, which was crazy. But yes, I feel like Davidson is going to get this. I was not impressed with Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling fight. I was not impressed at all with the Merab fight. Merab is just a total annihilator. Yeah. He's a total annihilator, right? This is his chance to prove that he is still who he is, but I think Figueiredo wants to get back to where he was. And I think Peter Yan is one of his first steps to getting back to that point. And there's a lot of talks of like if I don't know, man. Does Figueiredo beat Merab? It's a question.
Probably not, but at the same time, he'll have a better chance than a lot of Merab's recent opponents because Figueiredo himself is a very accomplished grappler.
Yeah,
and at the same time, he has that submission threat off of his back, and he has knockout power just like anybody else in the division, even coming up from 125. He's been laying dudes out cold, and he's tearing through the division right now. You say first step. I think he's already well on his way. He has 3-4 wins in the division.
Yeah,
there's an argument to be made to line him up for a title shot if he beats Yan.
Yeah, and I think that's what I mean by the first step. Is like the first step of them actually being like, okay, now I think it's time for us to get him in the title conversation as far as like ASAP, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by first step.
At that point,
yeah,
that's it.
Totally agree with you on that point. Last thing I want to say is Zhang Mingyang is fighting on this card, and I've actually had a chance to watch Zhang Mingyang train at the UFC Apex. I'm at UFC, headquarters, Institute, PI, right? I was working with Jason Manley one day. Well, not working with him. I was recording my boys work with them, and whenever they go, I like to go to the PI just to like see the fighters and watch them train and just get a fan visual perspective of what's going on in the PI. And I got a chance to meet Zhang Mingyang because Keith Berry, who we talked about earlier with Postmaster, he works with Jason Manley a lot with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wrestling, and he has Keith come out with the big guys. So it just happened one day we went and Zhang Mingyang was there. And let me tell you something about Zhang Mingyang. I don't even know if I have anything here that could justify how massive this man's legs are. Zhang Mingyang has calves that look like baby tree trunks. Like they are so massive. Like they're huge. When I was watching them, like they were doing wall drills, like on the mats on the wall, just like trying to do defensive drills on the wall. Dude, I'm looking at his leg like if he kicks somebody, dude, I want to see him kick this guy. Like I want to see him kick this guy because I just want to see for myself as if his leg is going to obliterate through the other guy's leg. Because when I say I've never really seen legs that big, like I mean strong, not fat. Like you've seen fat calf muscles or fat legs and like guys that have size to them. No, it's pure muscle. I mean, like a Venice, like a deer, bro. It's just pure leg muscles, and it's insane. He's super strong, one, especially for a light heavyweight. I thought he was a heavyweight. When I seen him. He's a light heavyweight. He was rolling with 4 heavyweights and giving all of them problems. The other guy he was rolling with, guys, his name always flips on my mind. He's a black, dude, I can't. I will have to look it up. And I'm pretty sure he's a light heavyweight as well. But he was there. Rolling with him, and it was insane, bro. But not to go too deep on that. I just wanted to talk about those few fights that I did like. But don't listen to me. I'm not the smart guy. He is. He's the one who makes the good picks, and that's why his name is MMA Pickers, and that's why he gets a full segment at the end of the show to reward the people who stuck around or reward the people who are on our YouTube. Because shout out everybody. The last video from last week from the Jones Stipe really blew up. Shout out to that. Shout out all of our new followers. Thanks to Brave and the notifications they've been sending out. We literally almost doubled our following overnight. So that's super dope. We're growing. We love you guys. We appreciate everything. We do put a lot of effort into this every week. And we hope that you enjoy and that you get some value out of it through Karate Combat, through your bets, or just through having something to watch on Friday at 12 p.m. That's not a boring ass ESPN or news sports show. Nothing against ESPN, but I mean, legacy media ain't the same no more. Y'all rather watch Pat McAfee. Y'all rather watch me. Y'all rather watch Cameron. Y'all rather watch Stephen A. Smith do his own show. Y'all rather watch Shannon Sharp because that's where it's going. So we're just that for combat sports, man. We're continuing to grow. We love growing with y'all. And For here on out, man, we just gonna keep it going, keeping it consistent, baby. That's episode 13 in the freaking books. And listen, man, we'll catch y'all next week, episode 14. Right now, confirmed, I got my boy Tyson coming through. He's fighting on IFC. I'm pretty sure he's the main event there. We're gonna have him on to talk about his fight camp and everything leading up to this. And also gonna try to get somebody from that's gonna be on the card. I'm gonna reach out to Leo and see how many people we have confirmed. And let's try to get 1 or 2 people from the card on next week. And yeah, man. Love you guys, man. See you later. And always, we out.
Burn it up, turn it round. Break the chains, feel the surge. Rebel hearts
Trevor
on
has a
the
good
verge.
running body kick again.
Flows through every word. Warrior's voice will be heard.